Only 8 years old yet, I already possess the cultivation of the immortal Emperor realm. Not only do I have a Hongmeng Supreme Treasure as a weapon, I also have an Emperor realm immortal beast as a mount. However, being invincible in the current world, I still cannot feel happy. Simply because when I transmigrated, I possess the innate holy child physique that can never grow up. After cultivating with my master for over 10 years, not only do I still look like an 8-year-old, but my cultivation hasn't even broken through the body tempering realm. Fortunately, when my master was hunted by enemies, and his life force was completely exhausted, he left me a jade slip, saying it contained a supreme inheritance, and whether I could obtain it depended on my own fortune. At this time you had just finished burying your master, and immediately opened the jade slip. As a result, the single sentence written on it made you gnash your teeth in anger. Ha ha ha, silly disciple. You're dumbfounded, right? Your master tricked you. This is the last thing your master will teach you. Never trust anyone. Sigh, you smelly old man. I knew it. You sighed and were just about to throw the jade slip away, when suddenly a notification sound echoed in your head. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the supreme inheritance. The system has been successfully activated. Bro system, you're finally here. Hearing this voice, you were so excited you almost cried. No one knows how you spent these past 10+ years. When you first transmigrated, you were a little beggar with no father or mother. The master you acknowledged, White Eyebrow, was also unreliable. In his youth he was either hooking up with sect madams, or making eyes at the concubines of holy lords. By the time your master's life force was depleted, all those enemies came knocking on the door, swearing to chop off his kuan and feed it to the dogs, which forced you to hide everywhere along with him. You finally managed to escape to this barren land to save your life. Bro system, don't dilly-dally. Hurry up and introduce yourself. Ding! This system is the All Heavens Invincible system, dedicated to helping the host become the strongest in all heavens and myriad worlds. A novice grand gift pack has been opened for the host. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the rewards. Hongmeng Supreme Treasure, Chonghong Sword. It contains the laws of chaos within. With one strike it can break all laws, slay gods and exterminate demons. Reward: Heavenly Tao Divine Pill. 9-turn Golden Pill. Consuming it allows one to instantly become an immortal emperor on the spot. Reward: Hongmeng Immortal Emperor Grade Cultivation Technique. Universe Limitless Art. Cultivating it to grand completion allows one to control the universe and be invincible across all heavens and myriad worlds. Reward: Emperor Realm Immortal Beast Chonchi. It shall serve as the host's guardian divine beast, absolutely loyal with monstrous combat power. At this moment your mind buzzed loudly. Endless knowledge and power frantically surged into your body. Golden light exploded in your eyes, seeming as if lightning was intertwining. A vermilion sword appeared out of thin air in your hand. The aura of chaos lingered around the sword's blade, emitting a coercion that made even heaven and earth tremble. You merely swung it gently, and felt an apocalyptic power gathering on the blade, as if even space was shuddering under this sword strike. Immediately after, the 9-turn Golden Pill emerged from your dantian, transforming into a golden stream of light that instantly merged into your body. A majestic power erupted from within you. Your cultivation level shot up like riding a rocket, breaking directly through the shackles of the body tempering realm, all the way past the immortal king realm, reaching the immortal emperor level. At the same time, the cultivation method of the universe limitless art also surfaced in your mind. You closed your eyes and concentrated your spirit, and began to cultivate according to the method. In an instant, streams of heaven and earth spiritual energy frantically surged into your body, and your aura became increasingly stable and condensed. Is this the power of the immortal emperor level? Feeling the majestic power within your body, you were incomparably shocked in your heart. You felt as if you could control heaven and earth, moving mountains, filling seas, plucking stars, and grabbing the moon with a mere wave of your hand. And your body seemed to have grown slightly larger along with the increase in your cultivation, becoming the appearance of an 8 or 9-year-old. You looked up to the sky and let out a long laugh. Ha ha ha, I Chenzhe have finally risen up. At this time, a heaven-shaking beast roar echoed in your sea of consciousness, followed closely by a rich, fierce, and baleful aura emerging from your sea of consciousness. A massive, hideous, and terrifying exotic beast gradually revealed its true form. This exotic beast was dozens of feet long, shaped like a tiger with a pair of wings growing from its ribs, and a pair of horns on its head. This was the system-rewarded Emperor Realm Immortal Beast Cheongqi. At this moment it was bowing its head in front of you, its eyes full of awe. Holy crap, it's so big. How many meat buns will it take to feed this thing for one meal? Having not eaten a full meal for a long time, the first thing you thought of was how to feed Qiongqi until it was full. That colossal Emperor Realm immortal beast Qiongqi seemed to sense your worry. A hint of slyness flashed in its eyes. You saw its body tremble slightly and quickly shrink, eventually transforming into a furry chubby orange cat, curling up by your feet. Those eyes that were originally crimson like fire had now also turned into a crystal clear amber color, revealing a bit of laziness and innocence. Meow, the orange cat raised its head and softly cried at you. Its voice was soft and cute, simply like a completely different cat compared to that heaven-shaking beast roar from before. You stared dumbfounded at the orange cat in front of you, stormy waves tossing in your heart. You reached out a finger and poked the orange cat, feeling that soft and warm fur. You finally confirmed that you were not dreaming. Why, you are Qiongqi? Your voice was trembling a bit, your eyes full of disbelief. The orange cat seemed to understand your words. It nodded its head and meowed again, as if answering your question. Ha ha ha, this is great. Now I don't have to worry about not being able to afford feeding you. You started laughing loudly, picking up the orange cat and holding it up to your eyes to examine it carefully. But then again, this transformation skill of yours is too amazing, isn't it? To actually be able to turn into a cat. Just a bit fat. You stroked the orange cat's fur, while sighing with emotion. The orange cat seemed to enjoy your petting very much. It narrowed its eyes and let out a purring sound. Then from now on I'll call you Big Orange. You smiled and gave the orange cat a new name, Big Orange. From today onward you will follow me to conquer all heavens and myriad worlds. We're going to make it big and strong, creating brilliance together, understand? Meow woo. Big Orange let out a low cry as if responding to your words. Its body moved, transforming into a golden stream of light, instantly merging into your body. After acquiring heaven-defying cultivation, the very first thing you wanted to do was avenge your master White Eyebrow. The one who had severely injured your master was the Black Fiend sect master Old Daoist Black Burn. Because in his early years during secluded cultivation, White Eyebrow gave him a glowing green hat, cuckolded at him. The two became enemies from then on. And to exact revenge, Black Burn cultivated desperately day and night, eventually reaching the true immortal realm. You must know that in an era where immortal emperors and immortal kings rarely appear in the world, the true immortal realm can already walk sideways, do whatever they want, across the entire profound heaven continent. Good. Let's go to the Black Fiend sect right now, and seek revenge against that old Daoist Black Burn. After speaking, you summoned Big Orange, rode it, and turned into a streak of light flying towards the horizon. Before long, you arrived at the sect gate of the Black Fiend sect. You were seen standing on the clouds, your eyes like cold stars, the sword light of the Chonghong sword in your hand flickering. Below, the mountain peak where the Black Fiend sect was located was shrouded in black mist, with a baleful aura shooting up to the sky, just like a living purgatory. Old man Black Burn, come out and take your beating. Your voice rolled out like thunder, shaking the entire mountain peak until it trembled. The disciples within the Black Fiend sect panicked, gathering one after another on the sect square, looking at that godlike riding figure in the sky. Their hearts were filled with fear and despair. Fuck, who is that person up there? He couldn't be here for revenge, could he? This guy looks incredibly imposing. Quick, go invite the sect master. In the crowd, the Black Fiend sect master Old Daoist Black Burn also revealed his figure. He looked at you, a trace of shock and fear flashing in his eyes. But it was immediately replaced by ruthlessness. Humph, arrogant brat. To actually dare to come single-handedly to my Black Fiend sect for revenge. Do you think your grandpa here is a vegetarian, pushover? Old Daoist Black Burn shouted angrily. His body moved and he charged towards you. You gave a cold sneer, and gently waved the Chonghong sword in your hand. A sword light cleaved out like lightning, aiming straight for Old Daoist Black Burn's throat. Seeing this, Old Daoist Black Burn was greatly alarmed, and hurriedly swung the Black Fiend demonic sickle in his hand to collide with the sword light. However, the sword light was like a hot knife through butter, instantly shattering the Black Fiend demonic sickle to pieces, and continuing to slash towards Old Daoist Black Burn. No. Impossible. Old Daoist Black Burn screamed in terror. But it was already too late. The sword light instantly pierced through his throat, cleaving his entire body in two. Holy crap, the sect master was actually stabbed to death with one sword strike. Run away. Seeing this, the disciples of the Black Fiend sect instantly descended into chaos, fleeing in all directions. However, you did not let them off. You gently swung the Chonghong sword in your hand, and a massive sword light burst forth from the tip of the sword. Like a rainbow piercing the sun, it slashed straight towards the mountain peak of the Black Fiend sect. With a loud boom, the entire mountain peak was split to pieces by this single sword strike. Amidst the pervasive smoke and dust, the buildings and disciples of the Black Fiend sect all turned into fine powder. You hovered in the air looking at the expanse of ruins below. Yet there was not the slightest fluctuation in your heart. You put away the Chonghong sword and turned to leave. Master, I have already avenged you. You can just peacefully pick up girls in the underworld from now on. You silently muttered in your heart. Suddenly a mechanical voice sounded in your mind. Ding detected a genius with supreme aptitude appearing nearby. Please proceed to take them as a disciple host. Upon successful recruitment, based on the disciple's level of aptitude, the host will be granted rewards of different tiers. The night was as dark as ink. A wretched figure was frantically fleeing through the wilderness. Behind him several dark figures were in hot pursuit, the cold gleaming ice blades in their hands, drawing sharp trajectories across the night sky. That wretched figure was none other than How, the youth driven to a dead end after his supreme bone was dug out by enemies. His clothes were in tatters and heavily bloodstained, his face written all over with despair and indignation. He was originally a favored son of heaven, but now had been reduced to a stray dog. How, hand over the soul condensation pill on you, and we can leave you with an intact corpse. A man in black shouted with a sinister smile, his voice carrying a trace of cruelty. How clenched his teeth tightly, his heart full of humiliation and anger. He tried with all his might to shake off the pursuers behind him, but helplessly his cultivation was completely lost, and his body had long been utterly exhausted. Just then a golden light descended from the sky in front of How. The golden light dispersed, revealing your figure as a 9-year-old child. Your eyes were aloof as you coldly shouted, "Stop!" The voice exploded in the night sky like a thunderclap. Seeing this, the pursuers all halted their steps, revealing expressions of doubt and uncertainty on their faces. They hadn't expected that in this wilderness a person would suddenly pop out. Where did this little brat come from to actually dare to meddle in our affairs? A man in black shouted. You didn't answer the man in black. Your gaze swept over How's miserable figure, and you couldn't help but feel a surge of pity. Stretching out your hand to wave, a gentle power instantly healed the injuries on How's body. ¿Y you sabme? How looked at you somewhat incredulously, complex emotions flickering in his eyes. You nodded and said indifferently, "Why are they hunting you down?" How remained silent for a moment, then slowly spoke. "I was originally the young master of the family. Because I bore the supreme bone, I was regarded as the family's treasure. But who knew that my second uncle, to fight for the position of family head, actually colluded with outsiders to dig out my supreme bone? I luckily escaped, but they refused to let me go." Hearing this, a cold glint flashed in your eyes. You coldly swept a glance over the pursuers and said in a deep voice, "I am protecting this person." Scram! The men in black, seeing that you were nothing but an 8 or 9-year-old child, couldn't help but feel a surge of contempt in their hearts. "Ha ha ha, little baby. Have you even fucking been weaned yet? To actually dare to boast shamelessly here about protecting someone." "Exactly. I say, little ghost, do you know the rules of this world? The strong are respected, the weak are prey. Today we are hunting down the remnant of the family. If you know what's good for you, leave quickly. Otherwise..." Another person deliberately dragged out his voice, a hint of threat flashing in his eyes. You raised your eyebrows slightly, the corner of your mouth curling into a disdainful arc. You tilted your head slightly and glanced at those men in black. Your voice was calm and aloof. "Otherwise what?" "Otherwise we will slay you here as well," a man in black said viciously. "Big orange attack. Following your command." A low roar suddenly echoed in the void, shaking the surrounding air until it trembled, followed closely by a golden figure rushing out from your body, transforming into a massive exotic beast. It was exactly Big Orange Cheongchi. Roar! As soon as Big Orange appeared, it looked up to the sky and let out an earth-shattering roar. The sound waves spread out like physical substance, shaking those men in black until they staggered about, faces revealing expressions of horror. "Holy crap, what kind of monster is this? Such terrifying coercion!" The men in black cried out in panic, their eyes full of fear. However, Big Orange turned a blind eye to their terror. It gave a low growl, and its body charged towards the men in black like lightning. Its speed was so fast that it left people speechless. In the blink of an eye, it arrived in front of a man in black. "Ah!" that man in black exclaimed, and before he could react, He was bitten on the neck by Big Orange in one bite. Amidst splattering blood the man stopped breathing and died. Roar Big Orange let out a satisfied low growl. Tossed the corpse of the man in black in its mouth aside. And then charged towards the next target again. Run away. Mommy save me. Seeing this, how could the remaining men in black dare to stay? They all turned around and fled. However, how could their speed compare to the divine beast Qiongqi? In a short while they were all caught and bitten to death by Big Orange. Looking at the corpses of the men in black lying on the ground. You patted Big Orange's round head in satisfaction and smiled. Big Orange, well done. You're in for a treat tonight. Hearing this, a gleam of excitement flashed in Big Orange's eyes. And then it began to feast heartily. Before long the corpses of those men in black were eaten completely clean by it. Watching the way Big Orange ate, you couldn't help but find it somewhat funny. This fat cat is really a glutton. But then again, this guy's appetite is just too good, isn't it? Eating so many people in such a short amount of time. It seems I still need to find more food for it. Just then Shihao's voice interrupted your thoughts. Thank you, benefactor, for the life-saving grace. Shihao walked up to you and fell to his knees on the ground with a thud. Respectfully kowtowing loudly. You helped Shihao up and said softly. You don't need to do this. Drawing a sword to help when seeing injustice on the road is originally what a chivalrous person should do. However, I see that your innate aptitude is not bad. Although you lost the supreme bone, there are still lingering rhymes within your body. If you are willing, I can take you as my disciple and help you rebuild your foundation. Hearing this, a trace of pleasant surprise flashed in Shihao's eyes. He hurriedly knelt down again and respectfully said, Master above, please accept your disciple's bow. After speaking, he continuously kowtowed 3 times. His attitude extremely devout. You smiled slightly and helped Shihao up. Since you have entered my tutelage, you should cultivate diligently. In the future, you must not disgrace the reputation of me as your master. This disciple will certainly keep it in mind. And not let master down. Shihao said solemnly. At this time, a mechanical voice suddenly sounded in your mind. Name, Shihao. Age, 18. Physique, innate supreme holy physique. Talent potential, 8 stars. Congratulations to the host for successfully accepting a disciple. Obtain system reward, 1 copy of the Chaos Heavenly Scripture. 1 sect construction card. 1 immortal king summoning card. And 1 fortune divine pill. You rejoiced in your heart. And hurriedly checked the several rewards. Afterwards you said to Shihao, Disciple, where did your family live before? Master will accompany you on a trip. And help you retrieve that supreme bone. Not long after. You took Shihao and rode Qiongqi, appearing in the sky above Yunzhou City. You nodded lightly and said to Shihao, Is this the Yunzhou City you spoke of? It is indeed bustling. Shihao stood on Big Orange's back. Looking at Yunzhou City below, a complex emotion flashing in his eyes. He felt both nostalgia for his hometown and some apprehension regarding the upcoming revenge. He softly reminded, Master, my second uncle's mansion is right in the depths of this city. His power is monstrous. And he has experts as numerous as clouds under him. We must be careful on this trip. Hearing this, you couldn't help but sneer. Experts as numerous as clouds? In front of your master, they are all just local chickens and pottery dogs, useless trash. Just lead the way. Master knows what he is doing. After saying this, you waved your sleeve. And Qiongqi dived down like an arrow, leaving the bowstring, heading straight for the depths of Yunzhou City. Big Orange's figure drew a beautiful arc in the air, attracting the onlookers and discussions of countless people. Look quickly, what kind of divine beast is that? To be so fierce and mighty. That seems to be a legendary ferocious beast, right? There are people on it too. Could it be an expert from some major sect descending upon our Yunzhou City? Very soon you and Shihao arrived in front of the Shi family's mansion. Master, this is my family's mansion. Shihao pointed at the mansion in front and said in a low voice, Alright, you follow behind me. We're going straight in. After speaking, you clasped your hands behind your back and strode towards the mansion. When the mansion's guards saw you walking over aggressively, they instantly gave a loud shout and drew the long swords at their waists, pointing them at you. Who goes there? To dare trespass into our Shi family mansion. However, you didn't even spare them a glance, merely spitting out a single word indifferently. Scram! A powerful aura erupted from your body, instantly blasting all those guards flying backward for dozens of meters. One by one their livers and gallbladders ruptured, and they vomited blood and died. Seeing this scene, Shihao's eyeballs almost popped out of his head, and he couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. Master's strength was actually this terrifying. You must know that the Sher family's guards were not lacking in Void Mansion Realm and Cave Heaven Realm experts. Yet they were actually vibrated to death by a single sentence from Master. Although this was the first time Sher Hao had seen you take action. He rejoiced that he had hugged the right thigh, found the right backer. You walked forward with your hands behind your back, ignoring those guards lying in pools of blood, and headed straight towards the depths of the mansion. The male servants and maids in the mansion panicked and fled upon seeing this, deeply afraid that this god of slaughter would bring disaster to the fish in the pond, innocent bystanders. Who dares to behave wildly in my Sher family? An angry voice came from the depths of the mansion, closely followed by a burly figure. A middle-aged man with a face full of fierce flesh came striding out. This person was none other than Sher Hao's second uncle Sher Padian. In Yunzhou City his power was monstrous, and no one dared to provoke him. Sher Padian saw you at a glance. When he realized you were just an 8 or 9-year-old child, he couldn't help but be stunned, and then burst into a fit of wild laughter. Ha ha ha, I wondered who dared to intrude on my Sher family. Turns out it's a little baby, who hasn't even grown all his hair yet. What a joke. Did your elders not teach you what manners are? To dare be so insolent. You stopped your steps and gave Sher Padian a cold glance. You are Sher Padian? Sher Padian didn't answer, because he simply didn't put you in his eyes at all. However, he was suddenly taken aback when he noticed Sher Hao behind you. Oh, isn't this my trash nephew? You're actually not dead? I say, eldest nephew. It's one thing that you didn't hurry up and flee for your life, but to dare bring a wet behind the ears little brat to act wild here. Are you stupid or just tired of living? Hearing this, you raised an eyebrow slightly and glanced at Sher Padian. Wet behind the ears? Hemph, you old dog, I'm afraid you've lived too long, that even your eyes don't work properly anymore. Hearing this, Sher Padian instantly flew into a raging fury. You dare call me an old dog? You're courting death. You must know that as a peak cave heaven realm expert, Sher Padian was used to being flattered all the time in this Yunzhou city, and no one had ever dared to insult him to his face. He gave an angry roar, the momentum on his body erupting fiercely, lunging at you like a furious beast. However, you didn't even move an inch, merely spitting out a single word indifferently. D. As the word die came out of your mouth, a terrifying coercion instantly erupted from your body. Sher Padian only felt an irresistible power instantly envelop his entire body. His cultivation of the peak cave heaven realm seemed completely suppressed at this moment, rendering him unable to move. He widened his eyes in horror and tried to struggle, but found that he couldn't even move a single finger. No, this is impossible. Absolutely impossible. Sher Padian was utterly terrified in his heart. He never would have imagined that a little baby, who looked no more than 8 or 9 years old, would actually possess such terrifying strength. Then with a loud bang, Sher Potion's body instantly exploded, turning into a cloud of blood mist that permeated the air. His body and soul, under this terrifying power, didn't even have a chance to struggle slightly, and were directly crushed into nothingness. The crowd within the Sher family mansion were all left dumbfounded by this horrifying scene at this moment. The servants and maids, who were originally fleeing in all directions, were now as if frozen by an invisible barrier. They widened their eyes, their pupils reflecting that gradually dissipating blood mist, as well as that small figure who remained as calm as ever. How is this possible? Second Master, he just died like this? A maid covered her mouth, her voice trembling so much it could barely be heard. Second Master was a peak cave heaven realm expert. To actually be killed by a little baby. Is this child a monster? Or the reincarnation of some great mighty figure? The crowd discussed clamorously, their voices full of fear. Your gaze, however, was as placid as an ancient well. You indifferently swept a glance around your surroundings, and ultimately fixed on a shivering steward. You come here. Your voice was calm and ice-cold, like the chilling wind in the dead of winter, making that steward involuntarily shudder. The steward walked unsteadily up to you, lowered his head and said with a trembling voice, Little young master. What orders do you have? You didn't waste words and directly asked, where did you guys hide Sher Hao's supreme bone? Hearing this, the steward's expression changed, and he stuttered. Little young master. I don't know what you are talking about. Don't know? You smiled coldly, a hint of cold light flashing in your eyes. Do you think I would believe your nonsense? After speaking, your body moved, and you instantly appeared in front of the steward, tapping a finger on the center of his brow. The steward only felt a tremendous force transmit over, and his whole person was as if struck by lightning, instantly losing consciousness. You probed your divine sense into the steward's sea of consciousness. Very quickly you found the memory regarding the Supreme Bone. It turned out that after the Supreme Bone was taken by Sherpatian, it was hidden in the family treasury. Humph. This Sherpatian is truly a cruel and heartless beast. To even rob his own biological nephew's bone. You sneered in your heart, and then took sure how to head to the treasury. In front of the treasury the stone door was tightly shut. It was carved with complicated runes. These runes were a restriction that Sherpatian had spent heavily to invite a true immortal realm expert to set up. All for the sake of preventing the Supreme Bone from being stolen. You lightly flicked your finger, and a fluctuation of spiritual energy instantly crashed onto the stone door. In the face of your immortal emperor realm cultivation, these restrictions were as fragile as paper mache. In an instant the restrictions shattered into pieces along with the stone door. After the stone door was broken open it revealed the countless glittering treasures inside the treasury. Your gaze swept across the treasury, and ultimately settled on a jade box. Then your figure moved, and you instantly appeared in front of the jade box. After opening the jade box, inside was exactly Sherhao's Supreme Bone. This Supreme Bone emitted a faint golden light, as if it contained endless power. You took out the Supreme Bone, turned around and looked at Sherhao. Disciple Master will now put this Supreme Bone back into you. It will hurt a bit, bear with it. Sherhao nodded with a resolute gaze. This was his only chance to rise up again. No matter how painful it was, he had to endure it. You raised your finger and that Supreme Bone levitated, lightly pressing against Sherhao's chest. An indescribable agonizing pain instantly spread out from Sherhao's chest, as if countless sharp blades were slicing his flesh and blood. Sherhao's face instantly turned pale, pea-sized drops of sweat sliding down his forehead. But he clenched his teeth tightly, and didn't let out the slightest sound. As the Supreme Bone integrated, Sherhao's aura also continuously climbed, as if a mysterious power was awakening within his body. Right at this moment you took out a pill from your chest. The pill emitted a faint golden light, and a rich medicinal fragrance. This was exactly that fortune divine pill rewarded by the system. It is said to be able to help those below the true immortal realm break through cultivation bottlenecks, and directly elevate several major realms. Disciple, swallow this pill. You handed the pill to Sherhao's mouth. Sherhao didn't hesitate, opened his mouth and swallowed the pill into his stomach. The moment the pill entered his stomach, a powerful medicinal force instantly erupted, fusing together with the potential of the Supreme Bone, forming an even more powerful force rampaging within Sherhao's body. Sherhao let out a long howl, his voice shaking the entire treasury until it trembled. His aura reached its peak state at this moment, directly breaking through to the Supreme Realm. Very good, disciple. You've succeeded. You said with a smile. Master, thank you. Sherhao knelt before you, incredibly respectful. You waved your hand and were just about to say something, when suddenly the system's notification sound came to your mind. Congratulations to the host for helping your disciple reconstruct the Supreme Bone. Obtained growth reward. The next second you felt a magical power inject into your body. Subsequently the bones in your body also grew a few fractions. Did I grow bigger again? You excitedly looked at your body and muttered to yourself. It seems you're not far from truly becoming a man again. Ding detected a genius with supreme aptitude appearing nearby. Please proceed to take them as a disciple host. Upon successful recruitment, the host will be granted rewards of different tiers, based on the disciple's level of aptitude. Hint: the genius appears in the Xiao family of Yunzhou City. Xiao family? You looked at Sherhao beside you and asked. Disciple, does this Xiao family in Yunzhou City have anyone you know? Hearing this, Sherhao raised an eyebrow slightly, revealing a trace of nostalgia on his face. Master, to tell you the truth, there is a person in the Xiao family who is my old friend from the past. His name is Xiao Yan. He is extremely talented and very righteous, and we had a very deep friendship. It's just that I went into secluded cultivation in recent years and lost contact with him. I don't know how his recent situation is. Hearing this, a gleam of shrewd light flashed in your eyes. A plan had already formed in your heart. You immediately said to Sherhao, since he is an old friend, then we should meet him even more so. You just follow me to take a look at the Xiao family in Yunzhou City. Although Sherhao was a bit puzzled as to why Master suddenly wanted to go to the Xiao family, he didn't dare to ask too much. All right, Master. I'll take you there right now. Before long, the two of you, Master and disciple, had arrived at the Xiao family's location. You saw that the Xiao family mansion was grand in scale, and its courtyard was as crowded as a marketplace. It was clearly a major family. Just as you walked to the door of the Xiao family, you heard a clamor coming from inside the mansion. Your expression changed. And you hurriedly pulled sure how to dodge into the mansion. You saw that in the hall of the mansion. A woman dressed in luxurious clothes was coldly looking at Xiao Yan, who was sitting in the subordinate seat. Her eyes were full of disdain and contempt. Xiao Yan, the matter of our marriage contract was originally decided by the elders of both families. But now your cultivation has stagnated. And you are already a cripple. How could I Murong Shui marry a piece of trash? Xiao Yan's face was pale, his hands clenched tightly into fists. But facing Murong Shui's mockery, he was powerless to refute. Because he was indeed a piece of trash at cultivation. His cultivation for many years had always been stuck at the qi condensation realm. And he had been long unable to take another step forward. Just then Yu and Shi Hao walked into the hall. When Shi Hao saw Xiao Yan's situation, he immediately blocked in front of Xiao Yan angrily and shouted, Murong Shui, how can you humiliate my old friend like this? Brother Shi, why are you here? Seeing Shi Hao, whom he hadn't seen for a long time, suddenly appear, Xiao Yan was very surprised in his heart. Seeing that it was Shi Hao and a little brat, Murong Shui sneered and said, I wondered who it was. Turns out it's Shi Hao. I didn't expect you to also be reduced to associating with trash. Is this your son next to you? I'll be damned. You're his son. Your whole family is his son. 3 black lines popped out on your forehead, and you suddenly really wanted to curse. But still held it back. Shi Hao was just about to speak, but was stopped by you. You smiled slightly, looked at Murong Shui and said, Miss Murong. Breaking off an engagement should be a mutual agreement. But you humiliating young Master Xiao like this is a bit too much. Murong Shui raised her eyebrows, looked at you and said, Oh, you little brat actually dare to meddle in my Murong family's affairs? If you have no business, hurry up and roll far away. Or watch out, this lady might spank your bottom. Shi Hao's face darkened. His body shook and the aura around him instantly surged. An invisible coercion enveloped the entire hall. Murong Shui, how dare you insult my master like this? Shi Hao's voice exploded like thunder in the hall, shaking everyone present until they felt a bout of heart palpitations. Murong Shui was intimidated by Shi Hao's aura. Her face changed slightly. But she immediately regained her calm and mocked. Ha ha ha, your master? The dignified young master of the Shi family actually acknowledged a little brat as a master. It really makes people laugh their teeth off. Hearing this, Shi Hao was even more overwhelmed with rage. He gave a loud shout. His body flashed, and he appeared in front of Murong Shui, grabbing Murong Shui's collar and glaring at her angrily. If you dare insult my master one more time, I will make you regret coming into this world. Murong Shui was frightened pale by Shi Hao's sudden action. She struggled, wanting to break free from Shi Hao's restraint. But helplessly, Shi Hao's strength was too great. She couldn't move at all. Shi Hao, what are you trying to do? Let me go. Stop. At this moment, a voice came from outside the door. The crowd looked towards the sound, only to see a burly young man striding in. He was dressed in a green robe, holding a long sword in his hand, with an arrogant look revealing in his eyes. Murong Fu. Seeing the newcomer, Xiao Yan's expression changed slightly as he said in a low voice, Murong Fu is Murong Shui's cousin, and also a genius disciple of the Murong family. At less than 30 years old, he has already reached the early stage of the divine realm, holding a very high status in the Murong family. Murong Fu walked into the hall, his gaze sweeping over the crowd, and finally settling on Shi Hao. He sneered and said, Shi Hao, you are so bold. How dare you come here and act wildly? Are you tired of living? Hearing this, Shi Hao coldly snorted. Murong Fu, your sister insulted my master. I am just teaching her a little lesson, that's all. If you dare to speak insolently again, don't blame me for being impolite. Murong Fu flew into a rage upon hearing this. As the genius disciple of the Murong family, when had he ever been threatened like this? He shouted loudly. His figure flashed, and he appeared in front of Shi Hao, striking out a palm. The tyrannical palm force approaching straight at Shi Hao's face. Seeing this, a trace of disdain flashed in Shi Hao's eyes. His figure slightly shifted, easily dodging Murong Fu's attack, while simultaneously kicking out, heavily striking Murong Fu's abdomen. With a bang, Murong Fu was hit by Shi Hao, and instantly his whole body flew backward like a kite with a broken string, crashing heavily into the wall and spitting out a mouthful of blood, painfully clutching his kidneys and starting to wail. TSK, my little disciple strikes quite ruthlessly. I reckon this kid's happy life for the rest of his life is mostly gone. You covered your mouth on the side, almost laughing out loud. Brother, seeing this, Murong Shui exclaimed, and hurriedly ran over to help Murong Fu up. Don't move. My kidneys are ruined. Call for people, quickly call for people. Murong Fu's face was pale. He clutched his abdomen, his eyes full of disbelief. He could never have imagined that Shi Hao's cultivation was actually so profound. To actually be able to severely injure him with a single strike. You! How dare you hurt my brother? Today none of you even think about leaving. Murong Shui pointed angrily at Shi Hao and said. After speaking, she took out a communication jade pendant and heavily crushed it with a crack. Seeing this, Xiao Yan next to them hurriedly said, Brother Shi, I will remember your kindness for standing up for me today. You guys leave quickly. Otherwise, when the Murong family's people arrive, you won't be able to leave. After hearing this, Yu smiled slightly. Don't worry. We are definitely taking charge of this matter today. Xiao Yan looked at this seemingly 8 or 9-year-old child in front of him. Couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. And then asked Shi Hao uneasily. Brother Shi, is this really not your son? Shi Hao glared fiercely at him. Don't talk nonsense. He is my master. Xiao Yan trembled all over in fright and quickly bowed to Yu. Greetings, master. The night was as dark as ink, and a fierce wind suddenly rose. The atmosphere in the Xiao family's courtyard instantly became tense to the extreme. The signal sent out by Murong Shui was like dropping a giant boulder into a calm lake. Ripples rapidly spreading out. Before long, a majestic figure appeared at the entrance of the Xiao family's courtyard. He wore a purple-gold battle robe, carrying a long sword on his back. Between his brows exuded an imposing aura of authority, without being angry. This was the head of the Murong family, Murong Wangba, an expert at the peak of the divine realm. And behind Murong Wangba followed a young man. None other than Wang Ting, the eldest young master of the Wang family, who snatched Xiao Yan's fiancée. Murong Wangba stepped into the courtyard, scanning the crowd. And finally said coldly to Shi Hao. Stinky brat, how dare you hurt my son? Are you tired of living? Facing Murong Wangba, Shi Hao showed no fear at all. He stood straight and said loudly. Murong Wangba. Your son insulted my master first. I merely taught him a little lesson. If you want to stand up for your son, I Shi Hao will accompany you to the end. Hearing this, a trace of anger flashed in Murong Wangba's eyes. What a sharp-tongued brat. Today, I will let you know the immensity of heaven and earth. Before his voice fell, Murong Wangba instantly disappeared from where he stood. And when he reappeared, he was already in front of Shi Hao. He struck out a palm as if to smash Shi Hao completely into powder. Facing Murong Wangba's thunderous strike, Shi Hao's eyes remained completely unfazed. His figure did not move, he just slowly raised his palm, meeting that seemingly unstoppable palm force. With a loud bang, as if the sky was falling and the earth was cracking, the entire Xiao family's courtyard shook violently under the impact of this power. However, what was shocking was that Murong Wangba's incomparably fierce palm was actually caught by Shi Hao with a casual palm strike. Murong Wangba's face instantly turned pale. He couldn't believe his eyes. This seemingly ordinary youth actually possessed such profound cultivation. And what terrified him even more was that he felt the true essence within his body rapidly draining away, as if being devoured by an invisible force. What is going on? Murong Wangba shouted in terror. Shi Hao smiled slightly, gently flipped his palm, and an even more powerful force instantly erupted. This force was surging like a torrent, instantly submerging Murong Wangba. Murong Wangba. I've long heard that you bully the weak and act tyrannically. Today I will enforce justice on behalf of heaven, and send you on your way. As Shi Hao's voice fell, Murong Wangba's body was instantly torn into pieces by that powerful force, turning into a puddle of mushy flesh scattered on the ground of the Xiao family's courtyard. This scene left everyone present dumbstruck. And those members of the Murong family, who originally intended to attack Shi Hao, were now frightened out of their wits and retreated one after another, deeply afraid that they would end up with the same fate as Murong Wangba. Am I not dreaming? The Murong family head was actually slapped to death with one palm. What is the background of this youth to actually be so powerful? Murong Shui looked at the puddle of mushy flesh on the ground, her eyes full of horror and despair. She could never have imagined that the father she had always been proud of would actually end up in such a state. At this moment, Wang Ting, who had been lurking on the side, made a move. Holding a short blade, he stabbed towards Shi Hao with lightning speed. Under the shocked gazes of the crowd, Wang Ting's short blade had already cut through the air, approaching Shi Hao's throat with a sharp whistling sound. Achoo! However, right at this instant, an abrupt sneeze sounded, like a bolt from the blue, instantly breaking this tense atmosphere. The one who sneezed was none other than that little one from just now. You who had been standing behind the crowd watching the show. But this sneeze was no trivial matter. An invisible storm instantly swept out with you at the center. This storm came too suddenly, leaving everyone stunned, only feeling a strong whirlwind blowing their clothes until they fluttered loudly, as if they were in the center of a storm. And the most miserable one in this storm was none other than Wang Teng. Wang Teng's short blade had just touched Shi Hao's clothes when it was engulfed by this sudden storm. What terrified him even more was that his clothes in this storm, as if being cut by an invisible sharp blade, instantly turned into fragments and scattered in the air. In just a short moment, the originally well-dressed Wang Teng was already exposed completely naked in front of everyone. He covered his vital parts in panic, trying to find something to cover up. But in this open Shao family courtyard, where was there any place for him to hide? Holy crap, where are my clothes? Wang Teng shouted in panic, his voice full of despair. You unchivalrous sneaky bastard. Actually trying to mount a sneak attack. You elegantly took out a handkerchief and wiped your nose. And at this moment the Shao family's courtyard was already in an uproar. Those people who were originally still shocked by Murong Wangba's death were now attracted by Wang Teng's sorry state, bursting into roars of laughter one after another. Ha ha ha, this eldest young master of the Wang family is too unlucky, right? To actually have his clothes blown off entirely by a single sneeze. He has really lost face all the way to his grandma's house this time. Amidst this roaring laughter, Wang Teng's face had already turned as pale as paper. He glared at you hatefully, and turned around wanting to flee from this place that made him lose all his face. However, just as he took a step, he felt a powerful force firmly locking onto him, making him unable to move an inch. Wang Teng, you wanna leave? Shi Hao said coldly. Hearing this, Wang Teng's heart trembled. He knew that he couldn't escape today no matter what. He had no choice but to bite the bullet and turn around to face Shi Hao, feigning calmness as he said, What do you want, Shi Hao? Shi Hao smiled slightly and said, You snatched my friend's fiancé, and wanted to sneak attack me. What do you think I want? Wang Teng was already sweating profusely from fear at this point. He stared tightly at Shi Hao and threatened. Shi Hao, my Wang family is not something you can easily provoke. If you dare touch me, the Wang family will definitely make you pay a heavy price. However, Shi Hao just smiled faintly, as if Wang Teng's threat was nothing more than passing clouds to him. The Wang family in my eyes is merely SOSO. After speaking, Shi Hao no longer paid attention to Wang Teng. He slowly raised his palm, and a powerful energy instantly gathered in his palm. This energy was as heavy as stone, as if it could tear apart space, making people feel awe. And no, don't kill me, Wang Teng shouted in terror. But Shi Hao no longer had any compassion. He waved his palm, and that powerful energy instantly turned into a beam of light, heading straight for Wang Teng. Wherever the beam passed, the air seemed to be torn apart, emitting an ear-piercing sound of breaking air. Wang Teng seemed to become incomparably insignificant under this beam of light. He widened his eyes in horror, wanting to run away, but it was of no use. Along with a miserable scream, Wang Teng's body instantly turned into nothingness under the impact of the beam. The eldest young master of the Wang family just died like this? One move. He actually only used one move. Just who exactly is this Shi Hao? His strength is actually this terrifying. The crowd in the Shao family's courtyard was once again shocked by this scene, and discussions arose one after another. Murong Shui looked at the pool of blood on the ground that hadn't yet dried, her heart full of fear. She dropped to her knees in front of Xiao Yan with a thud, and said tearfully, Xiao Yan, I was wrong. Breaking off the engagement with you was all forced by them. Can you ask them to spare me, please? As long as you let me go, I'll do whatever you want me to do. Anything is fine. Xiao Yan's gaze swept over Murong Shui's trembling body, as if it could pierce through her soul. The corner of his mouth curled into a cold sneer, his voice as cold as ice. Murong Shui, there is no medicine for regret sold in this world. You betrayed me and chose Wang Teng. All of this is your own fault. Murong Shui's face was as pale as paper. She bit her lip tightly, a ruthless look flashing in her eyes. She knew that begging for mercy at this moment no longer had any meaning. But she didn't want to die just like this. Therefore she fiercely drew the sword by her side, and thrust it towards Xiao Yan's chest. Xiao Yan, even if I die today, I will drag you down with me. However, before Murong Shui's sword light touched Xiao Yan, it suddenly stopped in midair. A sharp gaze shot over from the side, and a physical-like oppressive feeling made Murong Shui's body instantly stiffen. Your gaze swept past Murong Shui, with only endless indifference in your eyes. Sure enough, Zhang Wuji's mother was right. The prettier the woman, the more deceitful she is. The next second, under the horrified gazes of the crowd, Murong Shui's body exploded into a cloud of blood mist, dissipating into the air. A strong smell of blood instantly permeated the air above the Xiao family's courtyard. The crowd had already been numbed by the series of events that happened today. Even their expressions became sluggish. You slowly walked out from the chaos, wearing a calmness on your face that didn't match your age. With one hand behind your back, fully displaying the demeanor of a posturing king. Xiao Yan, are you willing to take me as your master? Your voice was calm, yet it seemed to carry an irresistible power. Xiao Yan's heart trembled. He had never thought of taking a master. But today the people of the Murong and Wang families died tragically in the Xiao family. He feared he wouldn't be able to shake off the involvement in this lifetime. Moreover, his intuition told him that this was an opportunity to change his destiny. Disciple Xiao Yan is willing. Xiao Yan immediately knelt in front of you and performed the discipleship ceremony. You nodded slightly, a satisfied smile appearing on your face. You reached out your palm, and a gentle power softly lifted Xiao Yan up. From now on, you are the disciple of me, Chen Zhe. I will teach you supreme martial arts, and make you the most powerful existence in this world. Name, Xiao Yan. Age, 18. Physique, fire spirit physique. Talent potential, 6 stars. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully taking a disciple, obtaining the following rewards. Reward Yi. Origin power of the fire element. Flame Emperor Divine Fire. Reward R. Fire element cultivation technique Heaven Burning Art. Reward Sun. Fire element magic treasure Fire Spirit Bead. At this time you were in a great mood looking at Xiao Yan. Disciple, I have a fire element cultivation technique here that is extremely suitable for you. I will teach it to you when there is time. Hearing this, Xiao Yan hurriedly kowtowed. Thank you, master. Right at this moment, the sky was suddenly covered with dark clouds accompanied by lightning and thunder. A figure tore through the sky like lightning, approaching straight toward the Xiao family's courtyard. It's the Wang family's ancestor Wang Zhen. Someone in the Xiao family's courtyard exclaimed, their voice carrying horror and unease. Wang Zhen is the strongest person in the Wang family, and also an outer sect elder of the Netherworld Palace. It is said that he has even reached the Nirvana realm. He rarely shows his face on ordinary days. Today, for the sake of Wang Ting's death, he actually pursued all the way here from the Netherworld Palace 10,000 miles away. It shows how deep his anger is. Wang Zhen's figure landed in the center of the Xiao family's courtyard, and a powerful coercion instantly enveloped the entire courtyard. His gaze swept over the people present, finally looking at Shi Hao and said with an icy cold voice, was it you who killed my great-grandson? Shi Hao's face didn't change color as he said indifferently, it was me. Good boy. A trace of appreciation flashed in Wang Zhen's eyes, but it was immediately replaced by anger. Do you know what price must be paid for killing a member of my Wang family? Shi Hao sneered and said, price? Your Wang family member bullied my junior brother, not to mention trying to sneak attack me. It's very reasonable for me to kill him, right? Reasonable? Wang Zhen sneered continuously. In this world, strength is what's reasonable. Since you killed Wang Ting, then pay for it with your life. Before his voice faded, Wang Zhen had already made his move. He waved his palm and a sharp palm wind rushed straight towards Shi Hao. As the palm wind passed, it emitted an ear-piercing sound of breaking air. Old man, your opponent is me. Wang Zhen was startled, only to see a small figure instantly blocking in front of Shi Hao. A trace of astonishment flashed in Wang Zhen's eyes, which then turned into a cold sneer. His voice full of disdain. Ha ha ha. A little baby who was just weaned also dares to make an enemy of me? Truly ridiculous to the extreme. He slightly retracted his palm, and the originally sharp palm wind instantly dissipated into nothingness. He looked at you contemptuously and mocked. Go go go. Hurry back home and ask your mommy for milk. Hearing this, the corner of your mouth curled into a cynical arc. Old thing. Do you think you can take advantage of me just by flaunting your seniority? Today I will let you have a good look at what it means by the new waves of the Yangtze River pushing the old waves. As your words fell, your palm waved out a crimson flame. That flame was like a fire snake, rushing straight towards Wang Zhen's face with the momentum of incinerating all things. Seeing this, Wang Zhen's pupils suddenly shrank, a trace of panic flashing across his face. He didn't expect that this seemingly tender youth could actually manipulate flames of such intensity. However, he was a Nirvana realm expert after all. His reaction was extremely fast. moving his figure wanting to dodge this strike. Yet in your eyes, his speed was only slightly faster than a turtle. That long fire snake was like a living creature, instantly wrapping around Wang Zhen's figure. It was so fast that Wang Zhen didn't even have time to react. Oh my old thing. Your reaction speed is no good. Practice more in your next life. Your childish milky voice echoed in Wang Zhen's ears. Wang Zhen's face turned livid. As an outer sect elder of the Netherworld Palace, when had he ever suffered such an insult? He roared angrily, his body's true essence rioting, attempting to extinguish the flames on his body. However, that flame was like maggots attached to the bone, burning ever more vigorously. In the blink of an eye, Wang Zhen's originally majestic figure turned into a charred sculpture. Even that hoarse, exhausting roar gradually became faint under the burning of this flame. Master, your move was too amazing. You directly burned this old turtle into charcoal. Seeing this, Xiao Yan couldn't help but cheer loudly, the feeling of awe in his heart deepening even more. You wanna learn? I'll teach you. Hearing this, Xiao Yan nodded heavily. Master, your cultivation is so heaven-defying. Have you ever considered establishing a sect? Sect? At this moment you suddenly remembered that in your hand, you seem to still have an unused sect creation card rewarded by the system. Ding system, new quest. Please establish a sect as soon as possible, host. You can obtain more rewards. Hearing this, you smiled slightly at your two disciples. Sure, how Xiao Yan. Now that matters here are concluded, we will depart immediately to find a suitable place to establish our sect. Hearing this, the two immediately replied respectfully. Yes, master. After speaking, you summoned Big Orange. Then, under the awed gazes of everyone in Yunzhou City, you took Shi Hao and Xiao Yan, and turned into a stream of light flying off into the distance. And the news of Wang Zhen's fall quickly spread out. The Netherworld Palace was located at the peak of the Netherworld mountain range, being the most gloomy and terrifying place between heaven and earth. This place was shrouded in clouds and mist all year round, with gusts of sinister wind, as if even the sunlight could not penetrate those thick clouds to illuminate this world enveloped in darkness. Inside the palace, the dim lamplight flickered unsteadily, illuminating the mottled bloodstains and hideous ghost faces on the walls. The air was permeated with a thick smell of blood and the aura of death, making one shudder. When the news of Wang Zhen's death spread back to the Netherworld Palace, the entire Great Hall fell into a deathly silence. Only the palace master, old Taoist Netherworld, had a face so gloomy, it seemed it could drip water. An outer sect elder of my Netherworld Palace was actually killed by a few wet behind the ears brats. Call my eldest disciple Yi Wuhan over. Before long, a figure swept past like the wind, arriving in front of old Taoist Netherworld. This person was dressed entirely in black with a cold and stern face. It was exactly old Taoist Netherworld's direct disciple, Yi Wuhan, who had already reached the supreme realm cultivation at a young age. Yi Wuhan knelt on one knee and said respectfully, Master, what are your orders? Old Taoist Netherworld's face was still gloomy. He spoke slowly, his voice full of murderous intent. Are you aware of the news of Elder Wang Zhen's death? Yi Wuhan raised his head and said in a deep voice. This disciple just learned of it. Please give your instructions, master. Old Taoist Netherworld suddenly slammed the armrest and stood up, his voice as cold as a blade. Those few wet behind the ears brats actually dared to kill an elder of my Netherworld Palace. They simply don't know the meaning of death. You go immediately to Yunzhou City and tear them into 10,000 pieces to restore face for my Netherworld Palace. Hearing this, a trace of ruthlessness flashed in Yi Wuhan's eyes. He stood up and replied respectfully, Yes, master. This disciple will set off right now. Having said that, Yi Wuhan turned and left, his figure gradually disappearing into the darkness. Time passed in a flash and a few days went by. Outside Yunzhou City, you along with Shi Hao and Xiao Yan walked under the moonlight on the boundless wilderness. For the past few days you had been searching everywhere, hoping to find a suitable place to establish the sect. Right at this moment, a burst of hurried horse hooves broke the tranquility of the night, only to see a group of burly men riding tall horses and holding weapons, rushing aggressively towards this side. And in front of them, a weak woman with fluttering white clothes and cascading long hair was staggering and running for her life. Her face was beautiful and elegant, free from vulgarity. Brows like distant mountains, eyes like autumn water. So beautiful that she seemed like a fairy walking out of a painting. Master, someone there seems to be in trouble. Xiao Yan pointed at the woman in the distance and said. You shook your head and let out a lazy yawn. Come, master will teach you a lesson. As a person, the most important thing is not to be a busybody, Ding detected a genius with supreme aptitude appearing nearby. Please proceed to take them as a disciple host. Upon successful recruitment, based on the disciple's level of aptitude, the host will be granted rewards of different tiers. Hearing the system's notification sound, you were also stunned, and immediately said to your two disciples, "Let's go, we will go take a look." Shi Hao and Xiao Yan looked completely bewildered. "Master, didn't you just say not to be a busybody?" You rolled your eyes grandly. "What the hell do you guys know? Master will teach you a second lesson right now. When you meet a beautiful woman, you absolutely must save her. You see, that woman is so breathtakingly beautiful, capable of toppling cities and nations. If we just let her be bullied by those burly men, that would simply be a blasphemy against beauty." Shi Hao and Xiao Yan were scolded into nodding repeatedly. "Understood, master." Subsequently, the three of you quickly hurried towards the direction where the woman was. In the blink of an eye, you arrived in front of that group of burly men and the woman. You saw those burly men all looking like fierce and malicious demons, holding weapons and completely surrounding the woman. And although the woman's face was pale, she still did not yield. She tightly gripped a long sword in her hand, ready to fight for her life against those burly men at any moment. "Excuse me, sorry for the interruption. Brothers, give me some face and let her go, all right?" Your tiny figure silently appeared in front of the burly men, giving them a jump scare. When the burly men reacted, they instantly jumped 3 feet high. "Damn it! Where did this little ghost pop out from? Roll far away and don't ruin our good business." You sighed and asked in a milky, childish voice, "Who are you people? Why are you bullying a weak woman? This woman is the woman our gang leader has taken a fancy to. If you know what's good for you, scram quickly. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite." A burly man brandished the broadsword in his hand and threatened viciously. Hearing this, you sneered. The one with the highest cultivation among these burly men was merely at the middle stage of the Void Mansion realm. In your eyes, they were simply like ants. You ragtag mob actually dared to be arrogant and domineering here? Truly not knowing life from death. Your figure moved and you arrived beside that woman. "Brat, you are seeking death." Seeing that you actually dared to meddle in this matter, those burly men instantly grew furious. One after another, they brandished the weapons in their hands and attacked Chen Zhe. Suddenly, a yellow stream of light tore through the night sky like lightning, carrying a sharp sound of breaking the air. It instantly arrived in front of that group of burly men. That light shadow rapidly unfurled. It was none other than the majestic-bodied and shiny-furred Big Orange. Big Orange's eyes flashed with sharp light, glaring fiercely like a tiger at that group of burly men, as if looking at a flock of lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Holy crap, what the hell is this thing? The burly men were so terrified that their legs trembled. A few timid ones had already peed their pants. Although Big Orange's figure was massive, its movements were abnormally swift. It was seen leaping lightly and arriving on top of a burly man's head. Its sharp claws instantly tore through the opponent's protective true chi, and fiercely pierced into the opponent's skull. That burly man gave a miserable scream and fell into a pool of blood. Seeing this, the rest of the burly men were all extremely terrified. They had never seen such a fearsome demonic beast, which could actually instant-kill a middle-stage Void Mansion realm expert in a split second. However, Big Orange didn't stop there. Its body spun, and it once again pounced towards another burly man. In just a few short breaths, those originally aggressive burly men were torn to shreds under Big Orange's sharp claws and fangs, leaving only a ground full of blood and severed limbs. The scene was tragic to the extreme. As for that white-clothed woman, she was already scared stiff like a wooden chicken at this moment. She had never seen such a terrifying scene. It wasn't until Big Orange tore the last burly man to shreds that she snapped back to her senses as if waking from a dream. She looked at you, her eyes full of gratitude. You glanced at her indifferently without saying much, and waved your hand signaling Big Orange to come back. Seeing this, Big Orange immediately and obediently returned to your side, rubbing its head against your trouser leg as if asking for a reward. You patted Big Orange's head, and then turned to look at that woman. "Are you alright?" The woman finally collected herself and hurriedly bowed in salute. "Many thanks for benefactor's rescue. This little lady is endlessly grateful." You waved your hand. "No need for formalities. What is your name? Why were you being hunted by those people?" Hearing this, a trace of sadness flashed in the woman's eyes. "This little lady's name is Lu Ruyan. I am a villager from a small village near Yunzhou City. A few days ago, a group of local tyrants came to the village. Seeing that this little lady looked somewhat pretty, they wanted to forcibly take this little lady to be a wife. This little lady was unwilling to comply, so I fled all the way here. At this time, the system sent a notification sound. Name, Lu Rian. Age, 19. Physique, reincarnation of Willow deity. Talent potential, 8 stars. Holy crap, this beauty is actually the reincarnation of an ancient mighty figure. Truly you can't judge a book by its cover. Hearing this you were overjoyed. Suppressing your excited mood you said to Lu Rian. It's getting late. It's not safe for you, a woman, to travel outside alone. How about this? You come along with us. Once we find a suitable place, we will help you settle down. Hearing this Lu Rian said gratefully. Thank you, benefactor. This little lady is willing to follow by benefactor's side. You nodded and asked. Miss Lu, you are quite familiar with the nearby area. Is there any place here that is relatively open and suitable empty land for building houses? Lu Rian pondered for a moment and said softly. Benefactor. Traveling north along this small path for about 10 miles there is a valley. The terrain there is open, and with mountains surrounding it, it is quite concealed. It should be suitable for building houses. After hearing this, a trace of satisfaction flashed in your eyes. Good, then we will go there. Before long. Under Lu Rian's guidance you arrived at that valley. You saw that the valley was filled with lush green grass, and the fragrant scent of flowers assailing the nostrils. The surrounding mountain ranges rolled continuously, like natural barriers, isolating this piece of heaven and earth from the outside world. You looked around and nodded in satisfaction. Then you silently chanted in your heart. Use sect creation card. The next second you only saw radiance flowing, and a powerful energy surged out from your body, rapidly spreading across the entire valley. Immediately following, earth-shattering changes began to occur in the valley. The dirt on the ground began to churn. Vegetation grew rapidly, and magnificent buildings rose out of thin air. Palaces, pavilions, martial arts arenas, all kinds of buildings were available. Every single one emitted a faint spiritual light, appearing solemn and sacred. In merely an instant, a sect covering a vast area sprang up from the ground in this valley. Its imposing momentum shocking to behold. Seeing this, Shi Hao and Xiao Yan couldn't help but widen their eyes. They never thought that master could actually create such a magnificent sect barehanded. Lu Rian was also shocked by the scene before her. The gaze she looked at you with was full of awe and admiration. You smiled faintly. From now on this sect will be called the Ethereal Sect. Henceforth this will be our foothold. After saying that you turned to Lu Rian and said, Miss Lu, from today onward you are a member of the Ethereal Sect. Once the sect has settled down, I will teach you the methods of cultivation, and help you step onto the path of martial arts. Hearing this, a trace of excitement flashed in Lu Rian's eyes. She bowed in salute and said, Thank you, benefactor. This little lady will definitely do her utmost to serve the sect. You shook your head. Still calling me benefactor? At this time the more quick-witted Xiao Yan realized what was going on, and said to Lu Rian with a smile, You're silly. Why aren't you hurrying to kowtow and acknowledge him as your master? Hearing this, Lu Rian hurriedly bent both knees, respectfully kneeling in front of you, and said with a slightly trembling voice, Disciple Lu Rian pays respects to master. You nodded slightly and said indifferently, Since you have entered my tutelage, you must abide by my sect's rules. Cultivate diligently, and not let the sect down. Lu Rian nodded repeatedly, firm light shining in her eyes. This disciple will definitely keep master's teachings in mind. Cultivate diligently, and live up to master's high expectations. You nodded in satisfaction. Then with a wave of your hand a gentle light enveloped Lu Rian's body. She only felt a warm current flow into her body, filling all her limbs and bones with strength, as if she was entirely reborn. This is an entry gift from your master to you. It can help you cleanse your marrow, cut your hair, purify your body, and open your meridians. To step onto the path of martial arts from now on. You said indifferently. Lu Rian felt that unprecedented power within her body. Excitement overwhelming her heart. She bowed in thanks once again and said, Thank you, master, for the bestowed gift. At this time Shi Hao and Xiao Yan next to them also stepped forward. Haha, hello junior sister. We are a family from now on. You nodded slightly. Then turned and said to Shi Hao and Xiao Yan, You two also need to cultivate diligently, and must not slack off. Whether this ethereal sect can be carried forward and glorified in the future will still depend on your joint efforts. Shi Hao and Xiao Yan replied in unison. We disciples will definitely do our utmost to live up to master's high expectations. Ding, congratulations to the host for successfully taking a disciple, obtaining the following rewards. Reward, Yao Ling 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 Amethyst Vines. Reward, Yao Ling 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 Dragon Scale Leaves. Reward. 10000 white magnolias. Reward. 10000 star fruits. Reward. 10000 Bodhi seeds. Reward. 10000 crimson flame red lotuses. Holy crap. So many heavenly materials and earthly treasures rewarded. You look at the string of rewards popping up from the system. Wild joy revealing in your eyes. These heavenly materials and earthly treasures are all top-grade materials for cultivation and pill forging. If they can be reasonably utilized, they will definitely be able to greatly enhance the strength of yourself and the sect's disciples. However, a severe problem is, the sect currently has no alchemists. You lead the three of them to the alchemy room. Pushing open the door, a rich medicinal fragrance permeates the air. On both sides are displayed a superb collection of herbs and pills. In the center of the alchemy pavilion stands a massive alchemy furnace. Your tiny figure silently appeared in front of the burly men, giving them a jump scare. When the burly men reacted, they instantly jumped 3 feet high. Damn it. Where did this little ghost pop out from? Roll far away and don't ruin our good business. You sighed and asked in a milky childish voice. Who are you people? Why are you bullying a weak woman? This woman is the woman our gang leader has taken a fancy to. If you know what's good for you, scram quickly. Otherwise don't blame us for being impolite. A burly man brandished the broadsword in his hand and threatened viciously. Hearing this, you sneered. The one with the highest cultivation among these burly men was merely at the middle stage of the Void Mansion realm. In your eyes, they were simply like ants. You ragtag mob actually dared to be arrogant and domineering here? Truly not knowing life from death. Your figure moved and you arrived beside that woman. Brat, you are seeking death. Seeing that you actually dared to meddle in this matter, those burly men instantly grew furious. One after another, they brandished the weapons in their hands and attacked Chen Zhe. Suddenly, a yellow stream of light tore through the night sky like lightning, carrying a sharp sound of breaking the air. It instantly arrived in front of that group of burly men. That light shadow rapidly unfurled. It was none other than the majestic-bodied and shiny-furred Big Orange. Big Orange's eyes flashed with sharp light, glaring fiercely like a tiger at that group of burly men, as if looking at a flock of lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Holy crap, what the hell is this thing? The burly men were so terrified that their legs trembled. A few timid ones had already peed their pants. Although Big Orange's figure was massive, its movements were abnormally swift. It was seen leaping lightly and arriving on top of a burly man's head. Its sharp claws instantly tore through the opponent's protective true chi and fiercely pierced into the opponent's skull. That burly man gave a miserable scream and fell into a pool of blood. Seeing this, the rest of the burly men were all extremely terrified. They had never seen such a fearsome demonic beast, which could actually instant-kill a middle-stage Void Mansion realm expert in a split second. However, Big Orange didn't stop there. Its body spun, and it once again pounced towards another burly man. In just a few short breaths, those originally aggressive burly men were torn to shreds under Big Orange's sharp claws and fangs, leaving only a ground full of blood and severed limbs. The scene was tragic to the extreme. As for that white-clothed woman, she was already scared stiff like a wooden chicken at this moment. She had never seen such a terrifying scene. It wasn't until Big Orange tore the last burly man to shreds that she snapped back to her senses as if waking from a dream. She looked at you, her eyes full of gratitude. You glanced at her indifferently without saying much, and waved your hand signaling Big Orange to come back. Seeing this, Big Orange immediately and obediently returned to your side, rubbing its head against your trouser leg as if asking for a reward. You patted Big Orange's head, and then turned to look at that woman. Are you alright? The woman finally collected herself and hurriedly bowed in salute. Many thanks for benefactor's rescue. This little lady is endlessly grateful. You waved your hand. No need for formalities. What is your name? Why were you being hunted by those people? Hearing this, a trace of sadness flashed in the woman's eyes. This little lady's name is Lu Ruyan. I am a villager from a small village near Yunzhou City. A few days ago, a group of local tyrants came to the village. Seeing that this little lady looked somewhat pretty, they wanted to forcibly take this little lady to be a wife. This little lady was unwilling to comply, so I fled all the way here. At this time, the system sent a notification sound. Name, Lu Ruyan. Age, 19. Physique, reincarnation of Willow deity. Talent potential, 8 stars. Holy crap, this beauty is actually the reincarnation of an ancient mighty figure. Truly, you can't judge a book by its cover. Hearing this, you were overjoyed. Suppressing your excited mood, you said to Lu Ruyan, "It's getting late. It's not safe for you, a woman, to travel outside alone. How about this? You come along with us. Once we find a suitable place, we will help you settle down. Hearing this, Lu Rian said gratefully. Thank you, benefactor. This little lady is willing to follow by benefactor's side. You nodded and asked. Miss Lu, you are quite familiar with the nearby area. Is there any place here that is relatively open and suitable empty land for building houses? Lu Rian pondered for a moment and said softly. Benefactor. Traveling north along this small path for about 10 miles there is a valley. The terrain there is open, and with mountains surrounding it, it is quite concealed. It should be suitable for building houses. After hearing this, a trace of satisfaction flashed in your eyes. Good, then we will go there. Before long. Under Lu Rian's guidance you arrived at that valley. You saw that the valley was filled with lush green grass, and the fragrant scent of flowers assailing the nostrils. The surrounding mountain ranges rolled continuously, like natural barriers, isolating this piece of heaven and earth from the outside world. You looked around and nodded in satisfaction. Then you silently chanted in your heart. Use sect creation card. The next second you only saw radiance flowing, and a powerful energy surged out from your body, rapidly spreading across the entire valley. Immediately following, earth-shattering changes began to occur in the valley. The dirt on the ground began to churn. Vegetation grew rapidly, and magnificent buildings rose out of thin air. Palaces, pavilions, martial arts arenas, all kinds of buildings were available. Every single one emitted a faint spiritual light, appearing solemn and sacred. In merely an instant, a sect covering a vast area sprang up from the ground in this valley. Its imposing momentum shocking to behold. Seeing this, Shi Hao and Xiao Yan couldn't help but widen their eyes. They never thought that master could actually create such a magnificent sect barehanded. Lu Rian was also shocked by the scene before her. The gaze she looked at you with was full of awe and admiration. You smiled faintly. From now on this sect will be called the ethereal sect. Henceforth this will be our foothold. After saying that, you turned to Lu Rian and said, Miss Lu, from today onward you are a member of the ethereal sect. Once the sect has settled down, I will teach you the methods of cultivation, and help you step onto the path of martial arts. Hearing this, a trace of excitement flashed in Lu Rian's eyes. She bowed in salute and said, Thank you, benefactor. This little lady will definitely do her utmost to serve the sect. You shook your head. Still calling me benefactor? At this time the more quick-witted Xiao Yan realized what was going on, and said to Lu Rian with a smile, You're silly. Why aren't you hurrying to kowtow and acknowledge him as your master? Hearing this, Lu Rian hurriedly bent both knees, respectfully kneeling in front of you, and said with a slightly trembling voice, Disciple Lu Rian pays respects to master. You nodded slightly and said indifferently, Since you have entered my tutelage, you must abide by my sect's rules. Cultivate diligently, and not let the sect down. Lu Rian nodded repeatedly, firm light shining in her eyes. This disciple will definitely keep master's teachings in mind. Cultivate diligently, and live up to master's high expectations. You nodded in satisfaction. Then with a wave of your hand a gentle light enveloped Lu Rian's body. She only felt a warm current flow into her body, filling all her limbs and bones with strength, as if she was entirely reborn. This is an entry gift from your master to you. It can help you cleanse your marrow, cut your hair, purify your body, and open your meridians. To step onto the path of martial arts from now on. You said indifferently. Lu Rian felt that unprecedented power within her body, excitement overwhelming her heart. She bowed in thanks once again and said, Thank you, master, for the bestowed gift. At this time Shi Hao and Xiao Yan next to them also stepped forward. Haha, hello junior sister. We are a family from now on. You nodded slightly, then turned and said to Shi Hao and Xiao Yan, You two also need to cultivate diligently, and must not slack off. Whether this ethereal sect can be carried forward and glorified in the future will still depend on your joint efforts. Shi Hao and Xiao Yan replied in unison. We disciples will definitely do our utmost to live up to master's high expectations. Ding, congratulations to the host for successfully taking a disciple, obtaining the following rewards. Reward, Yao Ling 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 amethyst vines. Reward, Yao Ling 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 dragon scale leaves. Reward, Yao Ling 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 white magnolias. Reward, Yao Ling 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 star fruits. Reward, Yao Ling 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 Bodhi seeds. Reward, Yao Ling 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 crimson flame red lotuses. Holy crap! So many heavenly materials and earthly treasures rewarded. You look at the string of rewards popping up from the system. Wild joy revealing in your eyes. These heavenly materials and earthly treasures are all top-grade materials for cultivation and pill forging. If they can be reasonably utilized, they will definitely be able to greatly enhance the strength of yourself and the sect's disciples. However, a severe problem is, the sect currently has no alchemists. You lead the three of them to the alchemy room. Pushing open the door, a rich medicinal fragrance permeates the air. On both sides are displayed a superb collection of herbs and pills. In the center of the alchemy pavilion stands a massive alchemy furnace. The furnace body is carved with complicated runes, as if containing the power of heaven and earth. Master, this alchemy furnace is so big. Sure How exclaimed while looking at the alchemy furnace in the center. You smile slightly and explain. This alchemy furnace is a treasure passed down from ancient times, named the Black Yellow Heaven and Earth Furnace. Not only can it forge various precious pills, it can also purify medicinal properties during the forging process, and elevate the quality of the pills. Wow, it's that amazing! Lu Ruyan exclaimed in admiration. Master, this alchemy furnace is indeed not bad. But how do we use it? Xiao Yan asked curiously. You glance at him and sigh helplessly. Yeah. It is indeed very amazing. It's a pity we don't have an alchemist. So we cannot forge these heavenly materials and earthly treasures into pills. Oh. Then what should we do? Sure How also grew anxious. You ponder for a moment, and suddenly, a trace of slyness flashes in your eyes. Since we don't have an alchemist, then let's go snatch a few over. Snatch? Snatch whose? The three asked in unison. Naturally, go snatch alchemists from nearby sects. I heard there are a few quite wealthy sects nearby, so there shouldn't be a lack of alchemists. Your master only needs to use a little trick, and I can snatch them over to be used by me. Ha ha ha, master is wise. Sure How jumped up excitedly. I love doing this kind of thing the most. Xiao Yan also rubbed his fists and wiped his palms, looking eager to try. Although Lu Ruyan was a bit worried, but thinking that this was for the sect's development, she had no choice but to nod in agreement. Therefore, under your planning, the group of four started preparing your kidnapping plan. Meanwhile, on the other side, Yi Wuhan had slaughtered his way from the Netherworld Palace tens of thousands of miles away to the Shao family in Yunzhou City. Yi Wuhan was dressed in black clothes as dark as ink, his figure appearing like a ghost in front of the Shao family's main gate. Seeing this, the Shao family's servants were all panic-stricken, kneeling on the ground one after another, not daring to look up directly at this uninvited guest. Yi Wuhan swept his gaze over the crowd indifferently, his voice as cold as iron. Where is Xiao Yan? Where did he go? The crowd looked at each other in dismay, shaking their heads to indicate they didn't know. A trace of impatience flashed in Yi Wuhan's eyes. He casually grabbed a servant and said coldly, Speak, where did Xiao Yan go? That servant was intimidated by Yi Wuhan's aura, and stuttered. I don't know. The young master has already left home for several days. Yi Wuhan's heart tightened. He let go of that servant, and turned to look towards the depths of the Shao family. He knew there was only one way to find Xiao Yan, and that was to use Xiao Yan's clothing as a medium. To use his secret technique, the 10,000-mile tracking art. But after he inspected several pieces of clothing Xiao Yan had worn, his brows furrowed tightly. His 10,000-mile tracking art had always been infallible. As long as there was a slight residual aura, he could track the target's location. However, today he continuously sniffed several pieces of clothing Xiao Yan had worn, yet failed to capture Xiao Yan's aura from any of them. This was truly beyond his expectations. Strange, how could it fail? Could there be something around Xiao Yan interfering with it? Just as Yi Wuhan was feeling puzzled in his heart, a trembling maid walked forward, holding a piece of clothing. Her hands trembled so much she almost dropped the clothing. My lord, this is exactly the underwear the young master has worn. The maid's voice was as thin as a mosquito's, a blush appearing on her cheeks. The corners of Yi Wuhan's mouth twitched slightly. As the dignified future young master of the Netherworld Palace, when did he ever need to use such a private item to track an enemy? But compelled by the situation at this moment, he had no choice but to take that underwear. Taking a deep breath, he closed his eyes and brought his nose close to that fabric, emitting a faint masculine scent. Cough cough. Yi Wuhan suddenly started coughing, seemingly choked by that strong smell. He opened his eyes and looked at that maid with an embarrassed face, secretly cursing in his heart. Damn it, this Xiao Yan pays too little attention to personal hygiene. This underwear smell is simply stronger than the marsh gas of the Netherworld Palace. My lord, are you alright? Seeing Yi Wuhan coughing incessantly, the maid was also feeling uneasy in her heart. And nothing. Yi Wuhan forcibly suppressed the discomfort in his heart, closed his eyes once again, and tried hard to gather his mental focus. wanting to sniff out Xiao Yan's aura from that underwear. Captured it. Yi Wuhan felt a surge of joy in his heart. He finally captured Xiao Yan's aura on that uniquely smelling underwear. He took a deep breath, forcefully resisting the urge to vomit, and then closed both eyes, forming a complicated hand seal in front of his body. 10,000-mile tracking art activate. Following Yi Wuhan's low shout, the blue light in the hand seal suddenly erupted, turning into a beam of light shooting straight into the clouds. Immediately after, the beam of light circled a few times in the air, as if searching for something, and then sharply turned, shooting rapidly in one direction. Yi Wuhan's figure moved, transforming into a black shadow, closely following that beam of light. At the same time, you brought Shi Hao and Xiao Yan to the front of a sect named the Azure Cloud Sect, while Lu Ruyan stayed inside the ethereal sect to guard the house. Over the past few days, you conveniently passed down the system rewarded Heaven Burning Art and Fire Spirit Bead to Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan was indeed worthy of the innate flame spirit holy physique. He quickly grasped the knack of the Heaven Burning Art. However, because there was no fortune divine pill now, Xiao Yan's cultivation was still relatively low. You pointed at the Azure Cloud Sect. Today Master will give you two a good workout. Later don't say anything at all. Just charge straight in, and find their most powerful disciple for a fight. Hearing this, Xiao Yan nervously swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Master, this Azure Cloud Sect is a major sect. If the two of us go in, we'll probably be beaten to death, right? Before you could speak, Shi Hao next to him grew displeased. I say, junior brother, are you looking down on your senior brother? Your senior brother here is at least in the supreme realm. Dealing with a mere few Azure Cloud Sect disciples is a piece of cake. Xiao Yan scratched his head. That's true too. But later, just in case we can't win, when you run away, don't forget to bring me along. Scram, stop saying such depressing things. Hurry up and follow me inside. Shi Hao took the lead and strode towards the main gate of the Azure Cloud Sect. Before the two had even stepped into the sect, they saw several Azure Cloud Sect disciples coming to greet them, looking them up and down with vigilant eyes. You two, may I ask what brings you to our Azure Cloud Sect? Shi Hao held his head high and puffed out his chest, answering with overbearing arrogance. We are here to find someone for a fight. As soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned, followed by uproarious laughter. One disciple shouted angrily. Are you two guys out of your minds? To actually dare come to my Azure Cloud Sect to provoke us? Shi Hao, however, didn't mind at all. A playful smile curled up at the corners of his mouth. What, you're scared? If you're scared, then call out the most powerful disciple of your sect, saving us the trouble of looking for them one by one. Arrogant. The leading disciple shouted angrily, waving his hand to signal the crowd to completely surround the two. For a moment, swords were drawn and bows were bent, the atmosphere becoming tense to the extreme. Since you don't know what's good for you, then don't blame us for being impolite. A trace of ruthlessness flashed in the leading disciple's eyes. He gripped his long sword tightly with both hands, preparing to launch an attack. Shi Hao, however, smiled nonchalantly and waved his hand. Hey, don't rush. I haven't warmed up yet. Saying this, he twisted his neck, emitting cracking sounds, as if provoking the disciples opposite him. Xiao Yan stood on the side, watching dumbfounded, muttering secretly in his heart. Senior brother's posturing skills are simply much more profound than mine. Seeking death. The leading disciple shouted loudly and charged forward with his sword. However, before he even had time to strike, Shi Hao had already dodged and arrived in front of him in a flash, casually striking out a palm. With a muffled bang, that disciple was slapped flying outward, falling heavily to the ground and unable to get up for a long time. Second senior brother, are you alright? Second senior brother was actually slapped flying with one palm. Seeing this, everyone was dumbstruck. They never could have imagined that this seemingly arrogant and domineering guy actually truly had such strong strength. Shi Hao nonchalantly clapped his hands, turned his head to look at Xiao Yan and raised an eyebrow. Junior brother, it's your turn. Hearing this, Xiao Yan immediately shuddered and hurriedly waved his hands. No. Senior brother, you can do it. I'll cheer you on. Shi Hao didn't force him either. He nodded and once again charged towards the remaining disciples. Those Azure Cloud Sect disciples were no match for him at all, beaten one by one until they cried for their parents and fled in all directions. For a moment, the entire entrance of the Azure Cloud Sect was in total chaos. Those disciples who were originally cultivating inside the sect heard the commotion and ran out one after another to watch the spectacle. They saw Shi Hao displaying great divine might, beating the disciples of their own sect so badly that they scattered like fallen flowers and flowing water. Each of them was dumbstruck, unable to believe their own eyes. Finally, an elder of the Azure Cloud sect rushed over after hearing the news. Seeing this scene, he instantly flew into a rage. Who is acting wildly here? Stop immediately. Hearing this, Hao stopped his steps and turned to look at that elder. A playful smile curled up at the corners of his mouth. Oh! Here comes a guy with a bit of weight. Saying this, he walked forward a few steps and arrived in front of the elder. You are this Azure Cloud sect's elder? Seeing Hao acting so arrogantly, that elder felt even more infuriated in his heart. That is exactly this old man. Who are you people? To actually dare cause trouble in front of my Azure Cloud sect? Hao shrugged indifferently. We just came to find people to fight, what about it? Your Azure Cloud sect disciples are so fragile, is it my fault? Hearing this, that elder was instantly so angry that smoke came out of his 7 orifices. Arrogant scoundrel. If I don't teach you a lesson today, where will the face of my Azure Cloud sect be? After speaking, he drew his sword and thrust it towards Hao. At the same time, you took advantage of the Azure Cloud sect's chaos and drove straight in from the back door, entering the sect's forbidden area, the alchemy room. You gave a gentle slap. Only a loud bang was heard, and that heavy wooden door was actually smashed into pieces by your single palm strike, turning into countless wood splinters flying outward. This scene stunned the alchemists who were busy inside the alchemy room. They stopped their handiwork one after another, looking with astonished faces at this little fellow who suddenly appeared at the door. A relatively senior 7th grade alchemist stood up, pointed at you and shouted, "Where did this little brat come from? To dare trespass into my Azure Cloud sect's forbidden area? Go play somewhere else." You shrugged your shoulders and smiled. Play? I'm not here to play. I'm here to invite you all to be guests. Saying this, you waved your small hand, and a stream of spiritual energy surged from your palm, turning into countless ropes, tying those alchemists up firmly and securely. Seeing this, those alchemists all turned pale with fright. They struggled, wanting to break free from the bindings, but found that the ropes were unusually sturdy. No matter how hard they tried, they couldn't break free. Why you, what do you want to do? An alchemist asked in terror. You chuckled hee and said, don't be afraid, don't be afraid. I won't hurt you. I just saw that your pill forging skills are not bad, and want to invite you to my place to give some guidance, that's all. Saying this, you waved your small hand, and a suction force emitted from your palm, sucking those alchemists to your side one by one. Then you clapped your hands, turned around and walked outwards. Those alchemists were made dizzy by this series of actions of yours. They looked at each other at a loss for what to do. It wasn't until you brought them out of the alchemy room that they snapped back to their senses, and one after another shouted loudly for help. Someone come quickly. A thief has broken into the alchemy room. Someone come quickly. However, at this time the entire Azure Cloud sect was immersed in the chaos of Hao wreaking havoc in the sect. Where would anyone have the time to care about matters here at the alchemy room? You laughed loudly. Go ahead and shout. Even if you shout yourselves hoarse, no one will come to save you. You might as well save some energy. Just as you were triumphantly leading the group of alchemists and preparing to leave the Azure Cloud sect, a figure suddenly flashed out from the shadows in the corner, blocking your way forward. This was an old man with completely white hair and beard and a serious face. He held a long sword, his gaze fixed on you like a torch, and he shouted sternly, "Little thief, cease your arrogance. Put them down. Otherwise don't blame this old man for being impolite." The moment you saw it was an old man, you couldn't help but chuckle and tease. Here comes another one seeking death. Are you Azure Cloud sect elders all this fond of joining in the fun? Hearing this, that elder's face turned red with anger, and he shouted furiously, "Ignorant brat, cease your wild talk. Put them down immediately. Otherwise you can forget about leaving this place today." You waved your hand indifferently. "Oh my old man. Stop wasting your energy. You guys can't even beat my disciple. So how could you possibly be my match? You'd better go back and cultivate properly for a few years before coming to find me." Hearing this, the elder trembled with anger. Shouting loudly arrogant, he brandished his sword and thrust it towards you. However, before this sword strike of his even touched the hem of your clothes, he was slapped flying outwards by a gentle palm strike from you. That elder somersaulted a few times in the air, and finally fell to the ground with a smack, turning into a half-dead dying dog. This scene stunned everyone present. They never could have imagined that this little brat could actually defeat an Azure Cloud sect elder so easily. Those alchemists were even more frightened, their faces turning the color of dirt. One by one they lowered their heads, not daring to make any more sound. And you just lightly clapped your hands, turned around and said to those alchemists,
See?
I told you. I told you not to shout, right? Now look what happened. The elder has been slapped away by me. Who else dares to come save you? Therefore it's better to just obediently follow me. Meanwhile on the other end, after Sure Hao led Xiao Yan to wreak havoc inside the Azure Cloud Sect's halls. Not only did the two retreat completely unscathed, they also swiped a few magic treasures from the sect. Very quickly this matter spread to the one who was undergoing secluded cultivation. The sect master of the Azure Cloud sect, Nangong Liuli. Nangong Liuli's secluded cultivation spot was deep within a bamboo forest shrouded in immortal qi. At this time she was sitting upright on a bluestone, eyes closed and spirit-focused. The surrounding spiritual energy gathered around her body like trickling streams, forming a faintly discernible radiance. However, right within this tranquility, a hurried sound transmission talisman suddenly pierced through the air and arrived, interrupting her cultivation. Nangong Liuli frowned and slowly opened her eyes. Reaching out to grab it, the sound transmission talisman fluttered into her palm. Subsequently, the transmission talisman turned into a ray of light, transmitting the information inside into her mind. What? Someone actually wreaked havoc in the sect, and even abducted several alchemists? Nangong Liuli's voice was full of fury. She could never have imagined that the dignified Azure Cloud sect would actually be toyed with so badly by a few juniors. She suddenly stood up, her face terrifyingly gloomy. As the Azure Cloud sect's most promising favored daughter of heaven in thousands of years, not only had she succeeded as the sect master at a young age, she had even broken through to the Saint Venerable realm. Even among the sects within a radius of tens of thousands of miles, she was an outstanding figure among the youth. Now the massive Azure Cloud sect was actually played for fools by a few outsiders. This was simply a monstrous humiliation. If she didn't get an explanation for today's matter, where would the prestige of her Azure Cloud sect remain? In just a moment Nangong Liuli had already returned to the main hall of the Azure Cloud sect. As soon as she appeared, the entire sect seemed to feel the powerful aura emitting from her body. Everyone held their breath, not daring to make any sound. Nangong Liuli's gaze was like lightning as she swept it over the crowd below and asked coldly, "Just what exactly is going on with today's matter? Someone tell this sect master in detail." An elder hurriedly stepped forward and took the events that happened today, telling Nangong Liuli everything exactly as it happened. The more Nangong Liuli heard, the gloomier her face became. By the end her face was completely livid and she shouted angrily, "To actually dare act wildly in my Azure Cloud sect, and even abduct our alchemists. This is simply outrageous." She took a deep breath, calmed the anger in her heart, and then said coldly, "Pass down the order. Seal the sect immediately. No one is allowed to enter or leave. At the same time dispatch all elders and disciples to search for the whereabouts of those people with full force. Once their traces are found, report to me immediately." Hearing this, the elders and disciples successively received their orders and left. Nangong Liuli stood above the main hall, her gaze looking far into the distance. "Those who dare to act wildly in my Azure Cloud sect, no matter who it is, I will have your bones stripped and your tendons pulled out." And at this time you had brought Sure Hao and Xiao Yan, and already left the sphere of influence of the Azure Cloud sect, swaggering all the way back to the ethereal sect. Among the several alchemists you invited over there was one 7th grade alchemist, and 4 6th grade alchemists. Don't think that the number of people is small. Alchemists above the 5th grade were already considered scarce talents in sects. Only a major sect like the Azure Cloud sect would have such a foundation. When you stepped into the ethereal sect with those alchemists, their faces were full of disdain and contempt. After all, they came from the renowned Azure Cloud sect. So naturally, they looked down upon this tiny ethereal sect.
This is your sect?
It's truly a bit too shabby. That 7th grade alchemist Li Xianfeng was the first to speak, his tone full of disdain. "Yeah, this place can't even compare to a single branch of our Azure Cloud sect." Another 6th grade alchemist Wang Yang echoed, his face written all over with contempt. Hearing this, you merely smiled slightly, paying it no mind. You turned around and made an inviting gesture towards the group. "Everyone please follow me." The crowd followed you doubtfully to the ethereal sect's alchemy room. The moment they stepped into the alchemy room, they were stunned by the scene before them. They saw various rare and precious medicinal materials arrayed as a superb collection inside the alchemy room, having everything one could expect. And the alchemy furnace was even flashing with golden light, as if immortal qi was hovering within it. The entire alchemy room was permeated with a rich spiritual energy, making people feel relaxed and happy. Li Xianfeng and the others almost had their eyeballs pop out. They could never have imagined that this tiny ethereal sect would actually have such a luxurious alchemy room. Holy crap, an immortal grade alchemy furnace? Is this really the ethereal sect's alchemy room? Wang Yang asked stutteringly, his voice full of disbelief. Genuine and guaranteed. You answered with a smiling face. How is this possible? How could your ethereal sect possess so many heavenly materials and earthly treasures? Li Xianfeng asked in shock. He widened his eyes and pointed inside the alchemy room at a spirit herb, emitting a faint purple light, exclaiming, "Is this the amethyst grass? The amethyst grass from legends that can refine immortal-grade pills?" Hearing this, the other alchemists also gathered around one after another, carefully observing that spirit herb. They found that not only was there amethyst grass in this alchemy room, there were also many rare medicinal materials they had only ever seen in ancient texts. My goodness, there's actually fire spirit sand here too. This is a must-have treasure for forging fire attribute pills. And this spiritual liquid pool. The spiritual liquid inside is actually so pure. It's simply the good stuff we've dreamed of. The alchemists continuously let out gasps of admiration. They never thought that in such an unknown little sect, there would actually be such abundant alchemy resources. At this time you walked out from the crowd and said loudly, "Everyone, you have visited the alchemy room. If you still insist on leaving, I won't force you." The several alchemists looked at each other in dismay. Their original disdain and contempt had long since vanished into thin air, replaced by faces full of shock and envy. They looked at you and then looked at each other, their eyes revealing an indescribably complex emotion. Li Xianfeng coughed dryly a few times and smiled awkwardly. Hee little sect Master Chen. This ethereal sect of yours truly hides its profoundness well. We failed to recognize Mount Tai just now and hope you won't take offense. Wang Yang also hurriedly echoed. Yes. We really were frogs at the bottom of a well before. We never expected the ethereal sect to actually be so wealthy. The medicinal materials and alchemy furnace in this alchemy room are simply hundreds of times better than the Azure Cloud sects. This place is the holy land for alchemists. Us being able to forge pills here is simply the fortune of 3 lifetimes. The other several alchemists also nodded one after another in agreement. At this moment they were thoroughly attracted by the ethereal sect's alchemy room. How could they have even the slightest thought of wanting to leave? Seeing this, you couldn't help but chuckle secretly in your heart. You had long anticipated that these alchemists would have such a reaction. After all, in the cultivation world, alchemy resources are scarce treasures. Not to mention a sect like the ethereal sect that possesses such abundant alchemy resources. Therefore you deliberately put on a straight face and said seriously, "Everyone, my place doesn't just accept anyone. Although you come from the Azure Cloud sect. But if your pill forging skills aren't up to standard, I will mercilessly kick you out." Hearing this, the alchemists hurriedly stated that their pill forging skills were absolutely solid, and would absolutely not disappoint you. They successively expressed that they wanted to start forging pills immediately, to prove their strength. Thus, inside the ethereal sect's alchemy room, a group of originally haughty alchemists started to get busy. They each took out their own alchemy furnaces and medicinal materials and began forging pills. You, on the other hand, sat to the side leisurely sipping tea, occasionally giving pointers to these alchemists. Although you knew absolutely nothing about this pill forging business. But after all, your immortal emperor cultivation was there. A slight clue casually pointed out by you actually made these alchemists suddenly enlightened. Oh, my sect Master Chen truly has eyes as bright as torches. Waking up the dreamer with a single word. I could never quite grasp the heat control for this batch of pills before. But after your pointing out, I immediately understood the profundity within. Chen Tianxian wiped the sweat from his forehead, while shouting excitedly, "Sect Master Chen, you are truly the guiding light of our alchemy world. I always encountered a bottleneck when forging pills before. But now hearing you say this, I feel like the bottleneck is about to be broken." Listening to these flattering words, the corners of your mouth couldn't help but rise slightly. But on the surface you still put on a serious appearance. You cleared your throat and said, You all are not bad. But you still need to continue working hard. The Tao of alchemy is broad and profound. It cannot be achieved in a single day's effort. Yes, what Sect Master Chen teaches is correct." The alchemists nodded one after another in agreement, and worked even harder at the tasks in their hands. Just as you were feeling drowsy, you suddenly sensed that a trace of divine sense seemed to be secretly spying on you. You slightly lifted your eyelids, seemingly not fully opening them. But an invisible aura instantly permeated outward. To actually dare use the heaven-peaking mirror to spy on me. Truly a lot of nerve. You sneered in your heart. A trace of sharp light flashing in your eyes. In a secret chamber of the azure cloud sect thousands of miles away, an old man with a fluttering long beard was holding an ancient-looking mirror. Nervously staring at the image inside the mirror with his whole face. This old man was precisely one of the azure cloud sect's elders, named Lu Qinglong. It turned out that Nangong Liuli ordered the crowd to search for your whereabouts. But there was not a trace to be found. Out of desperation they had no choice but to use the azure cloud sect's sect-guarding treasure. The immortal-grade magic treasure, the heaven-peaking mirror, to search. Although this immortal-grade magic treasure was only a defective product, it could still spy on immortal-grade energy fields. How is it, Elder Lu, have you found them? Hurry up and search, old Lu. Don't dawdle. The group of azure cloud sect elders beside Lu Qinglong were burning with anxiety, while Nangong Liuli sat to the side with an indifferent expression. She also felt somewhat anxious in her heart. Don't rush, I've already spied them. However, just as Lu Qinglong prepared to continue spying, he suddenly felt a powerful coercion transmit from the mirror. As if it was about to tear his divine sense apart. Lu Qinglong let out a miserable scream. The heaven-peaking mirror in his hands instantly shattered into pieces. And a powerful force of backlash surged into his body. How is this possible? Just what cultivation base is this ethereal sect master to actually be able to injure me from thousands of miles away? Lu Qinglong was terrified to the extreme, his face full of an unbelievable expression. However, his miserable screams did not last too long, because that force of backlash had already completely destroyed his internal organs. Lu Qinglong only felt an intense pain transmit from within his body, followed by a bout of the world spinning around him. His whole person collapsed onto the ground. Holy crap, old Lu. Don't die yet. Tell us who the other party is, and we will avenge you. Lu Qinglong clutched his chest, and slowly spat out 3 words. Ethereal sect. And with that he stopped breathing and died. Lu Qinglong's sudden violent death struck the azure cloud sect elders like a bolt from the blue. A burly elder widened his eyes, his voice trembling. How is this possible? Elder Lu was a Nirvana realm expert. To actually just die like this. Where did this ethereal sect pop out from? How could they possibly possess such terrifying strength? Nangong Liuli's originally indifferent expression also became solemn at this moment. She slowly spoke. It seems this ethereal sect is not simple. We must reevaluate the ethereal sect's strength. Otherwise we might suffer a loss. Sect master, then what do we do now?
Could it be we just let them off like this?
An elder asked unwillingly. Nangong Liuli let out a cold sneer.
Let them off?
When has my azure cloud sect ever suffered such a loss? Pass down the order. Assemble all elders and disciples above the supreme realm. Tomorrow morning follow me to slaughter our way into the ethereal sect.
Slaughter our way indirectly? Wouldn't this be too impulsive? Impulsive?
Why should I, Nangong Liuli, have misgivings about others' views when I do things? Besides, since this ethereal sect dared to kill my azure cloud sect's elder, then they must pay the price. Hearing this, although the elders still felt somewhat uneasy in their hearts, but since Nangong Liuli had always been domineering in her actions, they had no choice but to nod and comply. Early the next morning the azure cloud sect's main gate crashed open. Nangong Liuli rode a colorful radiant phoenix, with hundreds of elders and disciples following behind her, marching towards the direction of the ethereal sect with imposing momentum like a rainbow. Meanwhile, inside the ethereal sect, you had already urged the alchemists to forge 3 saint-grade pills. The grades of pills from bottom to top are divided into mortal spirit, profound king, saint immortal, and emperor. And after consuming 1 saint-grade pill, one's cultivation can break through to the saint realm, or even the saint venerable realm. TSK, this immortal grade alchemy furnace is indeed extraordinary. To actually forge saint-grade quality pills so quickly. That garbage alchemy furnace of the azure cloud sect. It takes half a year of tossing about just to forge 1 spirit-grade pill. Truly terrible. Of course, this is also because our ethereal sect has too many heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Given time we can absolutely forge immortal-grade, or even emperor-grade pills. After experiencing the benefits of the immortal-grade alchemy furnace, Li Qingxian and the other alchemists, one after another, became somewhat so happy they didn't want to go back. And you called the trio of Shi, Hao Xiao Yan and Lu Rian over, and distributed these 3 immortal-grade pills to them respectively. Disciples, consume these 3 saint-grade pills for now, to assist your cultivation to advance. The 3 looked at each other, all incomparably excited. They knew deeply just how precious these saint-grade pills were. After thanking you in unison, They each took a pill and swallowed it down. The instant the pill entered their bodies, it turned into a majestic energy, surging towards the 4 limbs and hundreds of bones of the 3. Their bodies seemed to be devoured by this energy. Every inch of skin and every bone was undergoing earth-shattering changes. Xiao Yan was the first to let out a long howl. Her aura instantly skyrocketed. Firelight wreathed around her body, as if a fire phoenix was soaring. That was the anomaly emitted by the fire attribute cultivation technique she practiced. I've broken through to the Saint Realm. Xiao Yan's voice was full of pleasant surprise. Lu Ruyan was also unwilling to be outdone. Greenery flourished around her body, as if countless lives were blooming. That was the anomaly brought about by the vitality art she practiced. Her cultivation was equally growing at a rapid pace, and very quickly reached the Saint Realm. And Shi Hao was the most dazzling existence among the 3. He was already in the Supreme Realm before. Now with the help of the Saint-grade pill, his cultivation advanced even more by leaps and bounds. A golden light was seen emitting from his body, as if a golden-armored war god was standing tall behind him. Saint Venerable Realm. I've actually reached the Saint Venerable Realm. You look at the 3 people's skyrocketing cultivation, and a satisfied smile also appeared on your face. These 3 disciples of yours were all heaven-endowed talents. As long as they were given enough resources and time, they would definitely be able to become overlords of a region. Disciples, although your cultivation has already elevated to a brand new height. But you must absolutely not be proud and complacent. The path of cultivation is still very long. You need continuous hard work to be able to reach even higher realms. You clasp one hand behind your back, guiding them patiently and systematically. Yes, Master. The 3 responded in unison. They knew that Master's words were all golden advice, and they would definitely keep them firmly in mind. Right at this moment, a burst of hurried footsteps transmitted over. Li Qingxian hurriedly ran in, saying out of breath, "Sect Master, this is bad. The people of the Azure Cloud sect, they are slaughtering their way over." Hearing Li Qingxuan's urgent report, your brows raised. Yet a cynical smile hung at the corners of your mouth. Disciples, the people of the Azure Cloud sect come uninvited. It seems they're here to look for trouble. You all follow Master out to take a look. Come with Master to meet these guys. Hearing this, the 3 all restrained the joy on their faces and responded in unison. Yes, Master. The group quickly arrived outside the ethereal sect's mountain gate, only to see dust flying in the distance. A mighty and massive contingent was galloping rapidly towards the ethereal sect. At the lead was a woman riding a colorful radiant phoenix. It was exactly the sect master of the Azure Cloud sect, Nangong Liuli. From afar, Nangong Liuli saw the 4 people standing in front of the ethereal sect's mountain gate. She then hovered in midair and began to observe them carefully from head to toe. Then she pointed at Shi Hao and asked, "You are the sect master of the ethereal sect?" Shi Hao was just about to shake his head, but was pinched by you from behind. Play along with her. Shi Hao immediately grasped your intention, hurriedly stood up straight and said with a serious face, "That's right, it is exactly this venerable one." Seeing Shi Hao in a long robe with a tender face, Nangong Liuli couldn't help but feel a trace of doubt arise in her heart. She frowned slightly and said with an icy voice, "Hee, and here I thought it was some formidable character. It looks like nothing more than a wet behind the ears brat." Hearing this, Shi Hao glanced at Nangong Liuli and said indifferently, "Wet behind the ears? Hee, sect master Nangong is underestimating people a bit too much, right? Those who are blindly arrogant usually don't have good endings." Nangong Liuli let out a cold snort and said disdainfully, "Arrogant? My Azure Cloud sect has experts as numerous as clouds, and strong cultivators too many to count. What kind of waves can your tiny ethereal sect possibly stir up?" Hearing this, a trace of teasing flashed across Shi Hao's eyes. He smiled slightly. "Oh? Since that is the case, why doesn't sect master Nangong come over and give it a try?" Hearing this, an elder behind Nangong Liuli instantly could not hold back anymore. He took a big step forward and shouted angrily, "Arrogant brat! Let me be the first to deal with you." After saying that, the elder turned into a stream of light and dashed towards Shi Hao. His palms flipped and flew, condensing a majestic energy palm print, slapping it fiercely down towards Shi Hao. However, facing the attack of this Supreme Realm elder, Shi Hao didn't even blink an eyelid. He gently raised his palm and casually waved it, and a golden palm print was seen flying up to meet it. Bang! The 2 palm prints collided in midair, erupting with a deafeningly loud bang. However, what was shocking was that Supreme Realm Elder's attack actually disappeared without a trace, like a clay ox entering the sea. Meanwhile, Shihao's golden palm print lost none of its momentum, directly slapping onto that elder's body. Ah, that elder let out a miserable scream, his body instantly smashed into a mist of blood, without even a sliver of strength to resist. This scene left everyone present dumbstruck. Nangong Liuli's face instantly became incomparably ugly. She could never have imagined that a supreme realm elder of her own sect would actually be unable to take even a single move from the other party. Holy crap! Elder Sun was actually slapped to death with one palm. The people of the Azure Cloud sect cried out in alarm. Shihao merely smiled slightly. Sect Master Nangong, do you still think my ethereal sect is easy to bully now? Hearing this, Nangong Liuli's face turned pale and green in turns. Looking at Shihao's indifferent smile, an indescribable feeling surged in her heart. She knew she had kicked a steel plate this time. This ethereal sect master was absolutely not as simple as she had imagined. And you standing behind Shihao laughed secretly to yourself. You muttered in your heart that this kid Shihao was getting better and better at acting. Not awarding him an Oscar would truly be a waste of his talent. Meanwhile, Nangong Liuli, as the sect master of the Azure Cloud sect, when had she ever suffered such humiliation? Cold light flickered in her eyes, and the anger in her heart was already burning fiercely. She stared fixedly at Shihao, her tone chilling. Very well, you have successfully angered me. Today, I will let you witness the true foundation of the Azure Cloud sect. Having said that, Nangong Liuli gently patted the colorful radiant phoenix beneath her. That phoenix let out a clear resonant cry, flapped its wings and flew high, soaring straight into the clouds. Nangong Liuli's figure moved, and she sat atop the phoenix, looking down at Shihao and the others from a commanding height. Shihao laughed out loud, pointed at you and said, "Look at this, I'm not bragging. But with your level, you can't even defeat the tea-serving disciple of our ethereal sect." The corners of your mouth twitched. "Fine, you sneaky bastard, you can't win yourself, so you sell out your master, right? What did you say?" Seeing the little child behind Shihao, Nangong Liuli tilted her head back and let out a long howl. "Ha ha ha. You're saying I can't even defeat that little baby behind you? Truly ridiculous to the extreme. I, Nangong Liuli, have roamed unhindered across the Divine Province domain for many years. When have I ever been so underestimated by others?" Nangong Liuli's laughter shook the heavens, as if trying to tear the entire sky apart. The phoenix behind her also cried out in resonance. Between the flapping of its wings, it stirred up a violent gale, blowing the clothes of the crowd below until they fluttered loudly. Seeing this, you helplessly shook your head. Damn it, does this woman have Chinibu? Why are her lines so exaggerated? You slightly lifted your eyes and said softly, "Why must Sect Master Nangong be so angry? Could it be that you are actually afraid of me, this tea-serving disciple?" As soon as these words came out, the entire audience was in an uproar. Nangong Liuli was even more burning with rage, wishing she could tear Chenzei into 10,000 pieces. However, just as she was about to make her move, your gaze suddenly became sharp. In that instant, heaven and earth seemed to stand still. Nangong Liuli only felt an invisible coercion descend from the sky, pressing down on her so hard she couldn't catch her breath. She was terrified in her heart. Just what kind of gaze was this? Why would it contain such terrifying power? Right at this moment, you slowly spoke. "Sect Master Nangong, do you know the immensity of heaven and earth? Today I will let you witness it." Before your voice faded, a dazzling golden light suddenly erupted from your eyes. That golden light was like physical substance, instantly enveloping the entire sky. Nangong Liuli only felt as if she was locked onto by a heaven-reaching power, unable to move at all. With a muffled bang, the phoenix beneath Nangong Liuli suddenly let out a miserable scream, its body falling uncontrollably towards the ground. Nangong Liuli turned pale with fright. She tried with all her might to stabilize her figure, but that power was as heavy as a mountain, making her unable to resist. With a thud, Nangong Liuli fell heavily onto the ground. Dust flew into the air. She struggled to climb up, only to find that her legs no longer listened to her commands, and actually knelt down before you in full view of the public. What is going on? Nangong Liuli's face was full of horror. She couldn't figure out no matter what why she had suddenly knelt down. And you just looked at her with a smile on your face, as if watching a good show. "Oh, my sect master Nangong, I really cannot accept such a grand bow from you. It's not even Chinese New Year yet and you're already kowtowing. I haven't prepared any lucky money either. Cease your nonsense." Nangong Liuli's face flushed red. At this moment she felt so ashamed and angry she wanted to die, wishing she could find a crack in the ground to hide in. The people of the Azure Cloud sect also looked at each other in dismay. They couldn't figure out no matter what. Why Sect Master Nangong would suddenly kneel in front of a child? You actually dared to humiliate our Sect Master. Disciples of the Azure Cloud Sect attacked together, facing the angry roars and encircling formation of the Azure Cloud Sect crowd. You paid it no mind at all, and casually waved your hand to the three behind you. Disciples, today let masters see the results of your cultivation. Hearing this, Sure Hao and the other two all felt their spirits rise. Haha, don't worry, master. Watch how we beat the crap out of these guys who don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Sure Hao let out a loud laugh, his figure moved, and he charged into the Azure Cloud Sect crowd like a ghost. Xiao Yan formed hand seals with both hands, muttering words in his mouth. Instantly a blazing hot flame spewed out from his palms, turning into a fire dragon that shuttled and wreaked havoc through the crowd. Lu Rian lightly danced with her long sword, her figure graceful like a willow. As the sword light flashed, several Azure Cloud Sect disciples had already been struck by the sword and fell to the ground. Seeing this, the people of the Azure Cloud Sect were greatly alarmed. They could never have imagined that these three young people would actually have such formidable strength. For a moment the scene descended into chaos. Although the people of the Azure Cloud Sect were numerous, under the combined efforts of Sure Hao's trio, they were retreating steadily and completely routed. How is this possible? Nangong Liuli looked at the scene before her, simply unable to believe her own eyes. She could never have imagined that these people she brought would actually be so vulnerable. Sect Master Nangong, do you still think my ethereal sect is easy to bully now? You walked leisurely to the front of Nangong Liuli and asked with a smile. Nangong Liuli's face turned pale and green in turns. Looking at your indifferent smile, a sense of powerlessness surged in her heart. She knew she had completely failed this time. I admit defeat. Nangong Liuli ultimately lowered her proud head, speaking with a trembling voice. Not bad. Seeing that you, Sect Master Nangong, are also someone who understands the times. Then stay behind and be this venerable one's maidservant. Hearing your words, Nangong Liuli's face instantly became a myriad of colors, standing frozen on the spot as if struck by lightning. As the dignified Sect Master of the Azure Cloud Sect, she was actually going to be reduced to being a maidservant for a small sect? This was simply a massive trampling of her dignity. Don't even think about it. Even if I jump from here and die here, it is impossible for me to be your maidservant. Your gaze focused, revealing a hint of murderous intent. I'll give you one more chance to reorganize your words. Nangong Liuli was frightened into trembling all over by this sudden chilling murderous intent, as if she was placed in an ice cave of 10,000 years. It was so cold that even her soul was shivering. Well. Nangong Liuli stuttered, her tongue seemingly tied in knots, unable to utter a complete sentence for a long time. Just as she was hesitating, golden light flashed in your eyes, and an invisible pressure enveloped her once again. What? Does Sect Master Nangong still want to think it over? Nangong Liuli was scared into a shudder, and hurriedly waved her hands. No need to consider it anymore. I am willing to be your maidservant. You were also amused by Nangong Liuli's reaction. Since Sect Master Nangong understands the times so well, then this venerable one won't make things difficult for you, and will leave your Azure Cloud Sect a way out. Nangong Liuli hurriedly nodded like pounding garlic, while wailing continuously in her heart. Master, can I get up first? Nangong Liuli asked carefully. She felt her knees were as heavy as if filled with lead. Kneeling on the ground was truly extremely uncomfortable. Hearing this, you were taken aback, then burst into loud laughter. Ha, what is Sect Master Nangong doing? Hurry up and rise. This venerable one is no strict master or evil lord. Nangong Liuli felt as if granted a great amnesty, and hurriedly struggled to get up, but accidentally staggered and almost fell to the ground again. She was so embarrassed she wished she could find a crack in the ground to hide in, but secretly swore in her heart. Damn little brat. Just you wait. When my Azure Cloud Sect invites the ancestor out, I will drown every single one of you in pig cages. You glanced at her, seemingly seeing through the thoughts in her heart. What are you plotting? Nangong Liuli was frightened into a shiver by your sudden question, almost peeing her pants in fear. She hurriedly shook her head and waved her hands, explaining stutteringly. And nothing. I wasn't thinking of anything. Looking at her panicked appearance, you couldn't help but find it funny in your heart. You gently patted Nangong Liuli's shoulder, your tone becoming much softer. No need to be so nervous. As long as you serve this venerable one wholeheartedly, this venerable one will naturally treat you well. Although Nangong Liuli's heart was still full of unwillingness and anger, she didn't dare to show it any more at this moment. She had no choice but to lower her head and say softly, "Yes, master." You nodded in satisfaction, waved your small hand and said, "Good, follow me." Ding, congratulations to the host for taking in a maidservant, obtaining the following rewards. Reward: 1 Tao Enlightenment Tea Tree. Reward: E-Chan acres of Immortal Grade Spirit Garden. Reward: 1 copy of the Phoenix Dancing 9 Heavens Art. Reward: 1 Immortal King Summoning Card. Reward: 10,000 drops of Qilin Holy Blood. With a wave of your small hand, ripples suddenly appeared in the void, as if opening a gateway leading to another dimension. Within this gateway, an ancient and mysterious tea tree slowly emerged. Its branches and leaves were lush, every single tea leaf emitting a faint golden light, as if containing the supreme logic and great Tao between heaven and earth. Is this the Tao Enlightenment tea tree? Nangong Liuli widened her eyes in shock. This tea tree was famously renowned in the cultivation world. Legend had it that it was planted by an ancient mighty figure with their own hands. Every single leaf contained the essence of the great Tao. Drinking its tea could help one comprehend the laws of heaven and earth, and break through cultivation bottlenecks. You smiled slightly, stretched out your palm, and gently stroked this Tao Enlightenment tea tree. You only felt a cool and refreshing sensation spread through your entire body along your fingertips.